This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Sunset Safari, coming to you live here from Djuma Private Game Reserve, where we have got buffalo having a little bit of a service over there from one of the oxpeckers. It is a blustery and cool afternoon. Lots of rain and enormous amounts of thunder and lightning last night have caused havoc with much of our technology, but we're back. Hello, everybody. We do welcome you on board this afternoon. We hope you are excited, and as excited as we are to be out and about. I'm going to be following up on some more buffalo. This is a lone buffalo bull on his own, but it seems like the rest of the herd has come on to Djuma, but I'm not alone. Lauren is out and about as well. I think she's going to be following up on the hyena den. Kyle is out in Tswalu, but I'm not sure if they're going to be joining us due to some rain. And we have Kim out in andBeyond Phinda, as well as Mike from Pridelands and Tess from andBeyond in Ngala. We do welcome you on board your live African safari. Good afternoon, and welcome on board once again with us here, coming to you live from Djuma Private Game Reserve in the Sabi Sands. Hello everybody, my name is Steve, joined by David on camera, and we are thoroughly excited to have you with us, and we hope you're excited to jump on board and send through your questions, as always, through to hashtag WildEarth on Twitter. Throw them in the YouTube chat stream using the all-important @FC, and if you're under 18, ask your parents or guardians to send through questions to kidsquestions@wildearth.tv. If you have not done so already, please head over to the website and you can send your questions in directly on the live Safari page. We hope you have a wonderful afternoon. We are going to follow up on buffalo, which I've been doing the last few days, just to show their movements. And we were about to head there, and then we found tracks of what seemed to be a herd. There was definitely more than 10 animals. It didn't seem to be a massive herd like what we had yesterday that crossed vertical access into this direction. And then on coming around the corner, we found tracks of one lonely fellow. This lonely fellow is standing here in the bottom of the seep line. You recall us talking about seep lines yesterday. It's open grassland area where the vegetation grows. There's a little bit of nutrients here, and it's characterized by the thick band of silver cluster leaves. This is the same fellow. Look on his shoulder there. You see that injury just next to the oxpecker? There is an injury in his shoulder. This fellow was in Sydney's dam the other day, very grumpy. He had a couple scratches on his face as well. I reckon he tangled with some lions, but I think he got away. We haven't seen the Telemati Pride since, so we don't know if any of them have incurred an injury. But he was sitting, if you recall, in Sydney's dam the other day, sort of doing what buffaloes do when they're injured or when they've been hunted, just trying to stay in the depths or the shallows of the water so as to avoid lions from joining or jumping on his back. But he seems like he's recovering. He does look a bit sad and lonely, doesn't he, Davy? That afternoon, I found him in the morning. That afternoon is when we found the herd that moved in from the west. They drank in Sydney's and then came back onto Vuyatela and then went back up into Bufasuk. Yesterday afternoon, we were quite privileged. Unfortunately, we just missed it. The end of a buffalo birthing, which is very, very special. If you missed it, we caught up with a female that was busy eating the placenta after birthing her little calf. And the calf was very cute and very wobbly on his feet and followed off. So I'd like to follow up with them and see where they've gone to. And if they have gone anywhere, I'm about to show you, because we left them over here last night, up there in Bufasuk, and their tracks have crossed here. So that's quite a jump. It's not such a big jump, but it is a full day since we went out this morning due to the conditions of the lightning last night. It caused havoc. We had an enormous electrical storm here, probably the craziest electrical storm I've been a part of in my life. It had the hairs standing up on the back of my neck. It blew the power on our building. It was actually quite special to sit and sort of meditate to this electrical storm last night. But it's also, if you've never experienced an electrical storm like that before, can be quite frightening, quite daunting. The lightning hits, and you get this sort of crackling sound around. Everything lights up, crackle, 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 hair on the back of your neck, and then the boom hits you. That's when you know you're right in the middle. Davy and Lauren are in a room or two next to me, and I think we were all I was enjoying it, but it's been a while since I've been so close to a thunderstorm. Last time I was actually in Tswalu Kalahari Game Reserve for eco training, and I was in a tent when the storm was like that. And there's nothing quite like it in a tent, because everything just lights up. Okay, he's getting his service once more. Okay, well, it is cloudy and overcast here. Let's have a look at what it's doing over the rest of our properties.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to andBeyond in Ngala, where it is also very cloudy and very cold and overcast and quite windy here this afternoon. My name is Tessa. I'm going to be your guide on safari this afternoon here at andBeyond in Ngala. Behind the camera, we have Owen this afternoon, and I'm actually here because I'm looking for some of the Birmingham Pride. And so I know that they've been in this area on the left this morning. There were about 6 of them. And they killed a baby zebra in here, and they have since moved because it didn't fill them. And so in fact what I am doing is listening here on the eastern boundary to see if they've come out. But you can see the grass is incredibly long. We've had quite a few of these franklins coming in and out, and they would be one of the really good signs of whether or not there are lions here, because they make quite a lot of noise whenever there is a predator around. Unfortunately, it is so windy here at the moment that I can't hear much, but I'm hoping, because there's a little pan system in here, that maybe they might have gone towards that pan. So I might actually take a walk just now and go and see if they might be in there. But it is quite a cold afternoon. We finally had the rain stop for a little bit, so we're going to give it a go and hope that the rain only comes in tonight. And this is a particularly good area at the moment, and a good weather situation for the lions. The grass is nice and long. It's windy, so they don't need to try and stay out of the heat. It's overcast. And so that means that hopefully they will be able to keep cool, and they can move if they want to. Although I should imagine that after a meal, they would want to go towards some water. Yes, poor baby zebra, the poor little baby zebra. So I believe it was quite a young foal, and it was almost close to a little drainage line, a little dry tributary that runs from the Timbavati riverbed. And I think they finished it pretty quickly. And I don't think it was enough to feed all of them, so I'm hoping that they're going to be moving around and continuing with their hunting this afternoon. We are actually quite close to the den site as well, where the Birmingham lioness is with her 3 youngsters, and so we might actually be able to go and have a look there as well. We've got some birds up in the tree. Look how much they're struggling against the wind. Shame. Oh my goodness. They really do look like they're struggling up there. But these birds would be a very good indicator as well. They would be alarm calling like mad if they saw lions around here. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to keep going for a little bit and just keep stopping and checking along here. And hopefully I can show you the Birmingham Pride a little bit later on.
This is Rusty. He's my favorite vehicle, and we've been through all the good times here in the bush. Now, if you feel a connection to Djuma Game Reserve like I do, then we have a fantastic opportunity for you. You can have your name engraved on a brushed metal plaque just like this one, and we will attach it to Rusty so you can always be with us on safari in spirit. We will even send you a digital photograph once your plaque is mounted on Rusty. Spaces are limited, so grab your spot now.
Hello, Mama. Just checking us out, everybody. There's no aggression here. Very relaxed. A herd of elephants moving around your car like that is truly, truly magical.
Tune into WildEarth every single day. It's in your nature. If you love to watch WildEarth, then we are inviting you to join our Explorers program. For a monthly subscription, you will have the opportunity to win fantastic WildEarth expeditions, join our guides for a chat around the fire, receive weekly highlights from our shows, and much more. All the money will go to keeping these live safaris on air, which in turn allows us to escape into nature every single day.
What makes andBeyond Phinda Private Game Reserve so special is our massive array of habitats. And with that comes, of course, a beautiful diversity of landscapes, but also an incredible biodiversity in terms of plants, bird life and animal life, as well as, of course, our conservation success stories with cheetah, with rhinos, now with pangolins too.
Catch up with the guides daily here on WildEarth. In a world full of upheaval, we all need a quiet and safe space to breathe. A place where anxiety and stress don't exist. A place where life carries on as normal. Escape to nature with WildEarth.
Welcome back to Djuma, everybody, where Dave and I are just discussing this little sort of incident here with the buffalo. And I saw him the other day with injuries. He's got a cut here on his mouth, and he's got that wound on his shoulder. Let's see if we can see the wound on his shoulder first. It looks like it might be from his own horn. Now, bear with us while we discuss this. Obviously, we're trying to investigate with a live animal without really knowing. But if you can imagine his face, he would have had possibly something attached to his face, a lion. Look at that wound on his mouth there. Maybe a lion had him by the mouth or tried to get him by the mouth, and he swung to get the lion off, and his head, you know when you let go of something, when you kick something and you miss, and he swung or followed through and then got his own horn in his own shoulder. Because it looks like a horn injury, and it's exactly where his horn would have sort of moved towards. Doesn't look like there's anything else wrong with him. Bit of a cut on the face, which looks incredibly painful, but it's not influencing his eating at all. Is it? No. And this is the second time now we've seen him or his tracks near where the herd went, but he's not bothered, everybody. He's done with those days. He's retired. He's had his time in the herd. The pressures that go with the herd are long past him. And these old retired bulls start off in pretty decent-sized groups. Slowly but surely, lions whittle them down until they're just lone, grumpy buffalo bulls. Splendid fellow. Here in the seep line, we were discussing yesterday, we're finding lots of animals in these seep lines feeding. Leslie, I'm not sure. I'm really not sure if they rotate their jaw in the same direction. When you chew chewing gum, Leslie, do you chew chewing gum in the same direction? I'm not sure. It's possible. It's possible. They don't have front teeth in the top of the mouth. They've got on the bottom. Oh, he's like, get away. He's got, at the bottom, he's got teeth, and at the top, on the top palate, it's just a solid palate, no teeth in the top, but the molars are there. So once the food is in the mouth, he does the chewing. So in what direction? Ow. I really couldn't tell you. It definitely serves the purpose of just chopping the vegetation up. Now he's going to move into the open and show us what a big fellow he is. He's a monster. Now, it's possible even that it was maybe just one lion that tried to attack him, because there's no injuries on his rear end. That's where lions normally try and go for. Oh, he's going to show us his rear end. Thank you very much. Thanks, Darby, for not framing that. If Jandro was here, he would have gone right in on the bottom as he was having a movement. So he's got no injuries around his rump, which is an area that lions often try and go for. But if it was just one lion, maybe the lion tried to grab him on the face, I wouldn't say that it would have worked very well for the lion. See how the fur is all sort of falling out and getting quite old. He's a tough old fellow. And we can get a good look at his lip now. Oh, come on, don't turn away now, you shy fella. There we go. Let's see that lip. Ow. Now that could be from anything, anybody. I thought it looked like a rip earlier. Who knows? Without physically seeing what happened to this boy, we can't tell. But I can tell you for sure, it's not slowing him down at all. And he's just going to walk along this way, have another poo, and carry on eating. And while we're going to send you down the road to say good afternoon to Lauren.
Good afternoon and welcome to the other half of the Djuma feeds, everyone. We are sitting at one of my favorite little pans, which is very, very full. Actually, unbelievably so. Just watching the weavers. I have, of course, been to the hyena den, but it's not active. My name is Lauren, and I do have the Frenchman, Seb, on camera today. And we're going to sit and enjoy the weavers for just a little while, and then I'm going to keep looping back and going towards the hyena den. I'm more than sure that Steve has told you already, but the storm last night that we sat through was absolutely incredible. It was electric. Seb and Marcel were cuddling in FC. They were scared. I was also scared. Even Steve said he was scared. The lightning, I've never heard lightning that loud before. It was right above us, and I believe it was above us, and of course there was some damage to our masts, which is why we were not out this morning. But our hero, Marcel, has managed to, I don't actually know what he did, but he did some magic, and we're out and about. So we can't travel too far today, but we're going to completely cover Djuma, and of course I want to be at the hyena den. We had an amazing sighting there yesterday, but sadly it was getting dark. The storm was brewing, so hopefully today we'll be able to see them with lots of ambient light and, no storm. I'm still convinced that I saw a cub. Davy doesn't believe me, he thinks I'm crazy. But I'm sure I saw a little cub just pop his head out beside Ntima. I don't know if this is confirmation bias, as James Hendry always used to call it, or whether I really did see a cub. I'm not sure yet, so I need to keep investigating, but it would make sense. She's got really pronounced mammary glands, we think suckle marks, she was in the dentrance, she was tending to something. It would make sense if there was a cub. So that's my mission for today, everyone. We're just going to keep looping back to the den, looping back every hour or so, and hopefully we'll get lucky. Okay, so we're going to bumble on and see what else we can find, but for now, we're going to send you across to Phinda to say good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to andBeyond Phinda. So we came out looking for lions and elephant herds, and we found a lone elephant bull. Definitely not a downgrade. We're very happy to find him, and he's very, very chilled. It's not a must. We've checked for all the signs that might tell us that we should maybe stay away, and we've seen none of those, and he's very happily just feeding there. I think he is just behind a bush for you at the moment, but I don't want to move too close. We'll see. There we go. He's moving a little bit. Maybe he'll move out into the open for us. He's moving further and further behind the bush. Okay, I'm Kim, and behind camera today we've got Simon. Oh, there we go. And just as we do our introductions, the elephant is coming out into the open nicely for us. He seems to have something quite interesting on his trunk. Oh, lovely. It might be a little bit of... Oh, he looks to have actually a few injuries. So that might... Oh, gross. It might be pus. So if you can... I don't know if you can see, but just... I'm going to actually move back a little bit. He's getting a bit close for comfort. And if you know anything about our vehicle here on Phinda, it doesn't start all the time. It's a little bit untrustworthy. Anyways, there we go. I think that's fine. But yeah, if just above his left-hand tusk, so as we look at him, at the right, he's got a tiny little hole that looks to be weeping a bit. So you might have a little bit of an injury there. It's a tiny little hole, but you can see that there is some of the same color stuff coming out of that as is on his trunk. It seems like quite a lot of ooze for such a tiny little injury on such a large animal, but it is what it is. You can also see that he's got quite a lot of grass and debris on his head. And I think that he's obviously been spraying himself with leaves and some of the stuff that he is feeding on. You can see on his back as well, he's also got quite a lot of dirt and some more debris. So he's obviously just been showering himself with all sorts of interesting stuff just to, well, I would say normally keep himself cool, but it's a very cool day here today at Phinda, so probably not the reason he's doing it. It could just be, I don't know, feels nice, sprinkling himself with with his food and with other stuff like sand. There you go. See, I mean, like wiping that grass on his face, not really any reason to do that. Although it did look like he swiped that across the area that we were talking about that he might have been injured on. So maybe that is giving him a little bit of irritation, that little sore, and he was just kind of flicking that at it in irritation. It's a beautiful big elephant. He's probably one of our older bulls on Phinda. You can see he's got those very, very thick tusks, and even the base of his trunk is very wide. Base as in the bit between his tusks. Sure, Keegan, that's a very difficult question, and it's a very varied answer because the length of tusks is it's a genetic thing. So long time ago, elephants, or there used to be elephants called tuskers. There still are, but there are not very many of them. And tuskers are, well, I actually don't know what the definition of it is, but I'd assume they are defined by a certain length of tusk, and they can get extremely long. I think that I'll have to get back to you with the exact answer. I don't want to give you false information. But yeah, they can get very long, those tuskers. We actually very recently have introduced 2 new tuskers, so elephants with the tusker gene, onto Phinda. So those 2 have extremely long tusks, possibly up to 2 meters long, and I think that they can get longer than that. So we're hoping to introduce those genetics into the elephants on Phinda. This guy isn't of those genetics. You can see his tusks, sorry, that's a horrific mistake. His tusks are probably about 1 meter, maybe just less. They obviously do go quite far back into his skull as well. But these ones are impressive just in their width, or how wide they are as opposed to how long they are. I'll have to get back to you though with how long tusks can get. But the other thing that I was saying is that unfortunately those tuskers, there aren't very many of them left because they were the ones that were targeted in hunting when ivory was, well, it still is sought after, but back when it was very sought after, those tuskers were the elephants that were targeted, so there aren't very many of them left. Yeah, Brownie, it is a very large bull, and interestingly, he he's got a very... In terms of height, he's not the biggest elephant bull on Phinda, but in terms of, like I was saying, how big his head is and how wide his trunk and those tusks are, he is... Oh, sorry. The call has dropped. Okay, there you go. Back with you. Yeah, but he is very big. And probably quite old. You can tell by the indentation just above his eye. The more deep those indentations are, the older the animal is, and also the size of their head. Sorry, our signal here is not great, and that's why we keep having to get back onto the call so that I can receive all your questions. But yeah, I mean, it's a privilege to be able to spend time with him like this when he's so relaxed, just feeding and not bothered by us at all. Kathleen, I actually don't really know what diseases elephants get. I know that they are able to contract TB, which is a disease that can be found in some animals, but I don't think that they're especially prone to it. Yeah, I mean, as far as I know, especially with the elephants on Phinda, they don't seem to struggle too much with any diseases. I think that they're quite hardy animals, and yeah, they don't seem to struggle too much from disease, as far as I know. When you hear about elephant deaths, it's generally due to starvation or dehydration in times of drought, but not necessarily disease. You saw just there he'd found some dirt and was spraying himself, like we pointed out earlier. So we did come out looking for elephant herds, and as wonderful as this guy is being, I think we might leave him to his feeding and go and try and follow up on those herds that we were initially looking for. While we do that, we'll send you over to Djuma with Lauren.
Very small, but still significant. We had my first butterfly since coming back. Now, when you look at a butterfly straight on, it's probably the worst angle, to be completely honest with you, with regards to identification. But I think this could be a window acria. Could be wrong. You're welcome to tell me I'm wrong, but I think it's a window acria. And it's not moving. And why is it not moving? It's far too chilly. It's far too cold. Really, they're just not solar powered enough. So because it's daylight, they're obviously alert, they're awake, butterflies in general are primarily diurnal. When that sun starts to set, what they will do is hide themselves in amongst the vegetation. It looks pretty hidden to us right now, but they'll go underneath. They'll go underneath leaves, and they'll just go a little bit thicker into the vegetation. But they probably haven't got enough solar power right now, and that's why this individual is really not moving. Well, it's moving, but it's not fluttering as butterflies normally do.
Look.
Oh, wow. Wow. Thank you, little butterfly. You're just showing off now. Seb was asking me, how did you spot that? That's how I spotted it. It has wings open. Wow. The underside to butterflies is always different to the top side. You won't find a butterfly that it looks sort of rarely find a butterfly that looks exactly the same on top as it does underneath. It's definitely an acria, that's for sure. It's my first acria of the year. It's a common group of butterflies that you find out here. And they all have short life cycles. By the time winter really rolls around, the butterflies will be gone. It's too cold, their life cycle's over. As an adult, their purpose is just to reproduce. Reproduce. The caterpillar phase, that's the stage where they eat and they grow and they grow and they grow. Caterpillars have just got to keep eating and get as big as they possibly can before, of course, well, they liquefy, if you like. Believe it or not, butterflies almost melt. That's obviously not the right word, but they have specialized cells in their body that retain genetic information and the right sort of information that will build them into a butterfly. So they liquefy, they turn into almost a delicious protein soup inside that chrysalis. And then slowly but surely these cells build up the animal from liquid form into a butterfly. So they do eat, and I use that word loosely because it's more like drinking. As a butterfly, they will tend to sort of use their proboscis to drink. They mainly drink nectar, but you will see them mud puddling, which means they'll land on the ground and they'll drink either water to get salts and minerals from the mud. And butterflies are also known to land on carcasses and carrion and sometimes drink blood. Can you believe that? Not so pleasant, I know. They do have a dark side to them. So I wouldn't really call it eating, it's more so drinking. They're able to use a sucking motion to suck up the nectar. William, I'm not sure how you measure delicacy. I'm not sure actually how to answer your question. I guess for us, they're very delicate. If we were to touch them, they would break. But to a butterfly, they're very, very powerful. So I'm not sure how to answer that. They're not delicate to the butter.
They're fragile.
To us, not to a butterfly.
No, not to a butterfly.
No, they're not fragile at all to a butterfly. And they're powered from the sort of thorax. So insects' bodies are segmented. You've got the head, which contains all the sensory information and the sort of brain and everything that powers the body. It's in a sensory way. Then you have the thorax, and that's the transport center. So the legs are attached to the thorax and the wings, and that's where all the muscles are. There's lots and lots of muscles in that part of the body. And then you have the abdomen, which contains the digestive system and the reproductive system for insects in general. It's the generalization. So there's lots of muscles to power these wings. And they have 4 wings, 2 forewings and 2 hind wings. To us, as big, gigantic humans, if we were to touch them, they're fragile, yes, they would break apart, but to a butterfly, they're not. They're very lightweight and the wings are extremely powerful. They're very large, especially compared to the body size, and that's how they're able to sort of propel themselves through the air. But it takes a while. Once they first come out the chrysalis as a butterfly, their first moment as a butterfly, it takes them a while to open their wings, to move their wings. It's almost a few hours before they can fly. So if you think about it, they were just a big fat caterpillar not so long ago, walking along the ground on their 6 legs. So when they eventually emerge, they've got to get used to having wings and how to sort of move the muscles. And then they've got to get energy from the sun. Solar power themselves before they can fly. They don't fly instantly. They don't just emerge and then start fluttering around. It takes them a while. Imagine never having wings and then all of a sudden, oh my goodness, I've got wings. I can fly. That must be such an amazing moment to be a butterfly. Seb actually spotted another one, but I don't know where you spotted that one, Seb. Jacko, you're saying what a beauty, I know. Butterflies really are beautiful. Of course, they're beautiful to us. But they are notorious for doing all sorts of interesting things with regards to the animal kingdom. And there's some species that the males, they're known to secrete a chemical, shall we say, that knocks the female out in order to mate with her. And once she's knocked out, she's not conscious, I guess, he then carries her away to mate with her, which is very taboo to think of it like that. And there's also some species that don't even wait until the females are out of the chrysalis. They break through the chrysalis and start mating with her, so she has no choice. So there's also a very naughty side to butterflies. And that's because of the adult life phase that they're in. It's just all about mating. It's all about reproduction. Donnie, I don't actually know what the largest butterfly found in South Africa is. The swallowtail family is very, very large. The charaxes can get very large, but I don't actually know the largest butterfly. The largest one that I see out here is definitely the citrus swallowtail. But we're in such a small area, I'm not actually sure. Very interesting question. If any of you know the answer, please do. #WildEarth, and you can teach me something too. The swordtails are also very large, and the larger the butterfly, the longer the life cycle. Not by much, but normally the smaller butterflies, like the blues for example, they will have a much shorter life cycle than the larger ones. Okay, so we're going to bumble on ahead and see what else we can find for the afternoon.
Do you dream of traveling to a far-flung wilderness location where life continues as normal? A place where you can escape to nature and breathe. If you become a WildEarth explorer, then this could soon become a reality. Subscribe today and stand a chance to win regular travel prizes. WildEarth Explorers, it's in your nature.
Hello, Mama. Just checking us out, everybody. There's no aggression here. Very relaxed. A herd of elephants moving around your car like that. It's truly, truly magical.
Tune into WildEarth every single day. It's in your nature.
Welcome to my car. This is Wendy, and she's my favorite. She would love to have your name engraved on her so you can be with her every single time she goes on a safari here in Djuma. If you become a WildEarth explorer, you will have the opportunity to buy an engraved tag which we will attach to her. We will make sure to send you a digital picture to show you exactly where you are sitting on her. You will have front row seat in every single sighting.
Welcome back to andBeyond Ngala, and we are sitting here watching some male impalas. It's a little bachelor herd chasing each other in amongst this little dazzle of zebras with some wildebeest around as well, and it's kind of almost reminds me of a mini Serengeti with everything together. And you can see exactly how windy it is at the moment. It is very, very strong wind. And this male wildebeest is not so happy that we are sitting here watching him. He's gotten up to stare at us. But this is a pretty good indication that there might not be lions here as well. I think he actually heard those frogs and he turned at exactly the same time that they called. It's absolutely stunning. You can see his stripes very, very well today. He's got beautiful stripes going down his neck and body. Almost looking similar to the zebras, just with less contrast. And that zebra is heavily pregnant. Have a look at her belly. Oh my goodness. So I'd say she's already close to giving birth. 9 months into that pregnancy for sure. Oh, shame, and she's being bothered by flies. Have a look on her shoulder where that triangular patches on her stripes. She keeps kind of moving her skin there, shaking it to try and get rid of the flies. Is it just me, or am I seeing her belly moving? On the side. I think it is moving. I wonder if the baby's kicking. It definitely looks like it. See all that movement on the side of her belly? Almost looks like the baby is kicking while it's in there. It's going to be a beautiful baby zebra foal here this week, by the looks of it. So we've actually got quite a lot of animals, and by the fact that these wildebeests are all lying down, it kind of shows me how cold it is at the moment, that they're really hunkering down for the weather that's coming. And it actually reminds me a little bit almost of the cyclone. When we had the cyclone here about a week ago, this is exactly the kind of behavior we were seeing. Animals finding open areas and lying down and really just getting themselves ready for the cold that's about to hit. It also seems like all the wildebeest are still chewing away while they are lying down. That one definitely looks like a female, and there's some youngsters in the middle too, maybe a year or just over a year old. You can see the different color on the top of the head, that nice light brown, to show that it's still busy changing over in color. So the impalas have started chasing each other around again. So we're starting to get close to the rutting season at the moment. So with this rutting season, that means the impalas are going to start chasing each other around, looking for a new dominance hierarchy for the mating that would be coming up in May. And I think this weather's also making them very energetic. Very, very, very energetic, because they don't need to keep cool today. But I'd actually love to hear from you, if you've ever had any experiences in like windy, cold weather here, or anywhere in the bush, and anything that you noticed about it. You know, like I'm noticing a lot more energy, a lot of animals lying down. But also if you have any other questions, wanting to get to know a little bit more here, or wanting to get to know a little bit more even about me, I'd absolutely love to hear from you. Please send in some questions for me. I love getting to know everybody. It almost seems like the impalas are all coming and walking towards the thickets now on the left. Actually see that one's coat is looking quite dark. I think it's got goosebumps. So these impalas can actually control the amount of goosebumps that they have, or when they have goosebumps, to try and keep themselves warm. So on a very, very cold day like today, they'll actually force themselves to get goosebumps, and it traps air in between their hairs against the body, and that air warms up and almost acts as an insulation layer, like we would put on a jumper or a jacket. They get goosebumps, and the air layer that gets trapped in there acts as their jumper. And you can see he's nice and chocolate brown and fluffy looking, so he's definitely got goosebumps. When he doesn't have goosebumps, his coat is going to be nice and smooth and red instead of that chocolatey, soft looking colour. So I'm definitely going to spend a little bit more time here just to see a few more of the dynamics that are going on, and I'm going to send you over to Mike in Pridelands.
Hello everyone, how's it going? You are joining me, Mike Anderson, and Gert behind the camera here at Eco Training Pridelands, where it is freezing cold and super windy once again. I don't even know if you can hear me with the wind howling over this hillside. We've come here because it's the side of the reserve where someone has seen a lion already this afternoon, and we're hoping that this lioness is coming into this sort of area. But while we wait up at this high area, what I wanted to do is this morning I kept talking about the golden orb webs, and yesterday as well. And so here I managed to plait a little bit of the thread together. Now it looks a lot when it's in my hand, but as soon as I started plaiting it or plaiting it, or making a like a thingy out of it, it started to get very thin. So you can see that there. I've sort of managed to sort of plait it together, and it's very strong. You can see as I pull it together. So what I'm going to try and do, I did say earlier that I would lift something rather heavy with what is essentially just a few strands of spider silk. So the heaviest thing that we could find that was easy to lift is this hammer. Because every good Land Rover should have a hammer on it, because you never know what's just going to happen. And this hammer probably weighs, I don't know, probably close to 2 kilograms, maybe 2.5. I think it's maybe a little bit less. But still, it's pretty heavy for a piece of silk. So what I'm going to do, I've got the silk around, as you can see there. I'm not going to hold it with my hand. I'm just going to try and zip these around like this. And lift. Please don't break, please don't break, please don't break. Oh, it's not going to work. The balance of this hammer, unfortunately, is not quite as good as Thor's hammer. I'll get it, hold on. I had it a second ago. The string didn't break, it keeps slipping out of my hand. But essentially you can see, it's very strong stuff. So this here, as I was mentioning before, if we had a piece of this that was, let's say, as thick as any of the cables on this vehicle, the cables that we use like this one here, that would probably be able to stop something like a plane or a truck from being able to move. So it's very strong. So what I'm going to do is literally just put it in my hand. No, I can't. I literally can't break this. Gert, can you try and pull that side? How's it work? It won't break. No, it just slips out the hand. Literally, it's so strong that even Gert, and Gert's a strong human being. I mean, he could probably, he could break my wrist with a single flick of his strong hands, and he could not break this piece of string. So it's really strong stuff. So it's pretty amazing. But as you can see, it's really windy out here right now, and what we're going to do is we're going to head down into some of the lower areas on the eastern side of Pridelands to see if we can find that lioness. And whilst we do that, I'm going to send you over to Phinda.
Welcome back to Phinda. So we found a nice large group of zebra. And the reason I don't use the word herd of zebra is because I suspect that this is more than one herd. Generally, herds of zebras are only about 10 animals strong, and here you can see that there are quite a lot more than that. Maybe even 30. So it could be a couple of herds. I've also seen quite a few stallions. Might even be a bachelor herd nearby. Which means that the individual stallions of each herd will probably be on high alert, making sure that that little bachelor herd doesn't get any ideas about kicking the dominant stallions out of there or away from their herds and taking over their harems. A harem is a group of females that a male is dominant over. So each of these herds will have a group of females. You can see there's quite a lot of foals in this group here as well, so there'll be females and youngsters, and then the one dominant stallion. There's also a little herd of wildebeest. It's a very nice spot for zebra because you can see, firstly, well, zebra and wildebeest. You can see there's lots of nice green grass, and we are up in a hill so that they can see if there are any predators coming. William, yes, wildebeest are territorial. Interestingly enough, though, the behavior between wildebeest in an area such as Phinda and wildebeest up on the Serengeti or the Mara, where they migrate, is a little bit different. So here on Phinda, because they do not migrate, because it's a fenced-in reserve, the male wildebeest will hold a very small little territory, and the females, or the herds, which are made up mainly, like the zebras, of females and the calves, will move through a male's territory. The male might join up with them briefly, and he'll maybe move with them into the next male's territory, at which time there might be a little bit of a challenge, a bit of a face-off between the two males, as the male whose territory the herd is moving into tries to fight the other male out of his territory. Then the herd will spend a bit of time in that territory before moving on again, and then the same will happen as that male tries to move with the herd into the territory of the next male. So unlike zebras, wildebeest are not kind of dominated over by a single male that follows them around. So zebra herds will have the females with the one male, and they all move around together. Wildebeest herds are just the females and the calves. They move around together, and they move in and out of different male territories. So when it comes to breeding season, the females will move through these territories, and the males will try and mate with as many females as possible. And that means that in a single herd of wildebeest, there'll be quite a lot of genetic diversity, because the father will be different for all the calves. Unlike in a single herd of impala or zebra, where all the calves or lambs or foals will have the same father. This one single father will impregnate all the females in an impala herd and in a zebra herd. So all slightly different reproductive behaviors, which is quite interesting. They all obviously seem to work, but it's just incredible how nature just adapts slightly different from species to species. And yeah, that's why you'll often see a wildebeest or a male wildebeest just by himself, and he'll be standing sentry in the middle of his little territory, often on a kind of patch of dirt that he's rubbed bare with his face and his hooves, so he'll scrape lots. If you come across one of these patches, you'll see that there'll be like scrape marks in the ground, and he uses hoof to scrape. He's got little glands in between his toes on his feet that secrete his scent. He's also got pre-orbital glands, which are glands on the face in front of the eyes, and that's why he'll rub his face on the dirt as well, and he's just trying to make his territory and that little area smell as much like him as possible. So he'll also defecate quite a lot on that little patch and get it really nice and pungent, smelling only of him and not of any other male, so that if a male does come into the area, he knows he's on someone else's turf and should be wary. Also allows females to know when they move into an area that it is occupied by a nice strong male that they might be interested in mating with. So we are sitting up on this beautiful hill, and as you can see, there's a lot of land behind me, and I have spotted in the distance 2 more elephant bulls. They're pretty far away, but I'm thinking that maybe we should actually head down towards them. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see them, Simon, in the camera, but they're just kind of moving out over the open there. And that is what I love about this area, this beautiful open area. You can see that there's lots of hills, and yeah, it's a very good way of finding game, is coming up onto these hills, just similar to what these zebra and wildebeest will be doing, and scanning out over the other hills to see if we can see any game that we might be looking for. So obviously these zebra and wildebeest aren't interested in spotting game, but they'll be looking out for any predators that might be after them. It's obviously quite a big advantage being able to see something from quite far away, so that they can get away if they need to. But yeah, we're going to make our way down towards those elephants now, and while we do that, we'll send you over to Ngala.
So I am sitting with a small breeding herd of elephants here at andBeyond in Ngala, and they seem to be loving this beautiful, lush, long grass in this black cotton soil section. Found a nice clearing where they're really getting some amazing grass in. And it's so nice and green here at the moment. What's very cute about this small breeding herd is there seems to be two youngsters that are constantly pushing each other around, and at the moment practicing how to use their trunks. So this is the older of the two, and I'm pretty sure that is its mother that we can see behind there. So it looks like two calves from the same mum. The other one is hiding in the bushes, and I'm sure it will come out soon. But watch how this little one is practicing how to wrap its trunk around that grass and trying to flick it off before it puts it in its mouth. So it is old enough to be able to do the basics with its trunk, but it's probably still getting used to all the intricacies of having so many muscles on your face. It's very cute. You can just see the tips of the tusks coming out there. So I think this one may be maybe 4 years old. Quite small tusks, although the mum has very small tusks as well, so that might be genetic. Trying very hard. You can almost see as it's trying to put it into its mouth, it almost gets a little bit like tongue twisted, if I can put it that way. Its brain like almost freezes a bit, if I could say that. And it sometimes is not really sure if it wants to throw the grass around or put it in its mouth. These elephants are loving the cool weather today. So there's actually two older females here. The one on the right is definitely older than the one on the left. You can see her temples have started to sink in a bit more. And they are really enjoying this beautiful greenery all around us, and you can see how thick the bush is. Oh, there's another one. So this also looks like an older female within the herd, maybe almost that age now where it might have had a few calves already. And I actually think that one of these females is pregnant. Yes, I agree. The little tusks on the baby are so cute. It's actually very sweet when they're just starting to poke out. Ah, the other one's coming back out again. Have a look on the right there. You can see it coming out of the bushes. So this one's a little bit younger. It's got no tusks yet, and it's definitely not so sure how to use that trunk. Look at it. Almost kind of twisting it around, trying to get everything into the mouth. But not quite sure. So there you can see kind of the size difference between the two calves. Oh, we might have a bit of playing. You can hear one of the adults rumbling. Oh, shame. This younger one is really not quite getting the hang of the trunk just yet. It's doing fairly well at getting the grass up, but it kind of throws it around and almost misses a few times. Like that. It's trying to get the branch back and it can't. I'd actually actually love to see them suckling again. A big female's actually about to walk in front of us. There you go. And she's the one that looks quite pregnant. She's got pretty big mammary glands hanging down between her front legs, but she's also hanging fairly low at the back of her abdomen. So she might be maybe around halfway through her pregnancy. She's quite beautiful. I love how you can't really hear them walking. It's one of those mind-blowing things about elephants. Kali, babies will stay with their mums for different amounts of times depending on whether they're male or female. A female might stay with her mum forever. They'll stay within a herd. It's a matriarchal society, so they're a female strong herd. But they start becoming more independent from the age of around 3. This elephant calf is throwing around some grass at the moment, one of them. The males, though, Kali, will probably leave their mums and the herds for good, anywhere between, say, 12 and 16 years old. They'll start getting moved out. But a female might actually stay with the herd forever. Usually the gestation period or the intergestational period, the time between calves, is around 3 years. So anywhere from 3 years old, the calves start becoming a lot more independent from their mums. Look at this one. Throwing the ground. So that's a combination of playing, but actually also practicing a very important skill, which is when elephants are eating grass, they like to shake the dirt off the roots before they put it in their mouths, because that dirt can grind away at the teeth and can become quite uncomfortable, but it also means that they'll run through their different sets of teeth a lot quicker. So not only is it practicing shaking all that dirt off before it puts the grass in its mouth, but it's actually also playing and having a pretty good time with its learning at the moment. So that female there, I think, is actually the mom of both calves, because I actually saw the smaller calf suckling from this female as we arrived here. And elephants are very particular. They won't let other calves suckle. They won't give other calves milk, only their own. And so I've seen both of the calves very close to this female, which makes me think that they might both be hers. Slightly different ages of the calves as well. You can see the mom is busy shaking the dirt off there. She's doing it very elegantly. As she picks it up, she kind of just gives it 1 or 2 flicks and then puts it in her mouth. The calf actually flings it around a bit. Actually, the calf is standing with its back legs crossed at the moment. It's just moved. So that's quite common to see in elephants, actually, because they spend so much time standing. They often cross their back, raise one leg, just to try to take the pressure off a little bit. This is a very peaceful scene. We've noticed there's a roller that's been flying in and out around the elephants. And that's pretty common as well, because while the elephants are busy... What is that little one doing with its trunk? While the elephants are busy shaking up the grass and disturbing while they feed, insects come up out of the grass, and that's what the roller is going for. So in total, it might take a young calf like this over 2 years just to learn the basics of the trunk. Within about 6 months, they can usually do quite a few things. But this little one, say closer to 2 years, it would have started really mastering the trunk. But I'm going to stay here for a little bit longer, see what happens. It seems like there's some more elephants coming from the distance. And I'm going to watch this little one using its trunk.
This is Rusty. He's my favorite vehicle, and we've been through all the good times here in the bush. Now, if you feel a connection to Djuma Game Reserve like I do, then we have a fantastic opportunity for you. You can have your name engraved on a brushed metal plaque, just like this one, and we will attach it to Rusty so you can always be with us on safari in spirit. We will even send you a digital photograph once your plaque is mounted on Rusty. Spaces are limited, so grab your spot now.
It's no secret that nature can heal. Some of our WildEarth viewers are finding solace in the outdoors close to their homes during lockdown.
This is how I keep myself busy during lockdown. Beautiful little jumping spot.
I love walking in the open spaces near my home. Provides a moment of peace in a crazy world.
This is my fire escape with some of the birds I get to see. That's what it's like in New York City during lockdown.
Being in nature helps me to cope with the challenges of life and helps me to be humble and grateful.
It's magical watching everything turn into a winter wonderland as the snow softly falls.
Been doing lots of walking, dog walking, outside at parks.
This is my Ridgeback Drake. Our little slice of paradise is a provincial park called Hopewell Ross.
Connecting with nature is critical to stay positive during these tough times. WildEarth encourages you all to find time to escape to nature.
My name is Ross, and I'm a field guide at andBeyond Phinda Private Game Reserve. I love getting questions from guests on WildEarth because I love sharing and learning information about nature with new people, and it also makes me feel like you're all joining me in real life. If you want to ask a question on WildEarth, then you need to register on our website. Once registered, go to our live safari page and submit your question below our live feed.
It's a cub, everyone, a brand new cub. Meet Djuma's little one. We've only seen okay, Lauren, breathe. Djuma's a mom. I'm gonna get all emotional. There you go. See, I'm gonna get all emotional. Sorry, everyone. It's been a tough year. Well, the year's only just started, but you know what I mean. And Djuma, congratulations! Yes, you did it! You got a baba. I don't know if there's one or two, I'm really not sure, but it's definitely there. I hope there's some tissue in this car. I knew it. I knew she was pregnant. I'm so proud of you. This is Ribbon's lineage and Djuma's Ribbon's daughter. And this is her first litter. She's going to be 4 next month. Hello. I feel like I'm only seeing just one. But I guess we could be wrong. I guess there could be 2. It's her first time being a mom. Is incredibly sweet. That means there's now at least 7 cubs. 4 different moms. All different age groups. Bloomin' marvelous. Tim, you're saying this is incredible. I know. I knew it yesterday. I knew it. I thought, am I going crazy? I know there's a cub. And her behavior, of course, suggests that there's a cub. Oh, I'm so happy. This clan is thriving, aren't you all? And because Ntima's now high ranked, well, Ribbon's the matriarch, so Ntima's just under Ribbon. That's great news. Great success for her and her offspring. No, everyone. These are my new shoes. I don't know what these cubs love about the car, but they love it, that's for sure. Oh, and Ntima, please, can we get another view, please? Wow. This clan is just going from strength to strength. Such a small clan, and they really did go through turmoil in 2019. And Ribbon's taken over as matriarch, and wow, everything's settled. Even Corky's got a cub. And Christine, I agree. She'll be a great mother for her first litter. She'll be a great mother, especially because there's so many other cubs, there's other mothers. Her mother's a matriarch. She's in a really good position. She's probably had cubs a little bit earlier than a female would, but that's now because she's extremely high ranked. I don't know if we'll get any more views. I think this cub is very young and is at the stage where that's June's little bug. You're not the smallest anymore, June bug. She's at the stage where she'll only come out to Mum's call. I'm so glad I came back here. And when they're younger, of course, they need more milk, so Mum's here more often. Marie, yes, absolutely. It's not like a wild dog society or a wild dog pack where it's only the alpha male and female that should be mating. Technically, they're all allowed to mate. When you think of the role of the matriarch in terms of hyenas, her role is really like a matriarch in an elephant herd to maintain order. Imagine if there was no order in any sort of hyena collective group. It would be chaos, just as it would be with elephants. To maintain order. They're large animals, they're powerful carnivores. If they were all just running amok, that would be, well... that would not be good for society, or at least the animal society. So to maintain order, that's why there's a structure in hyenas. Everybody knows where they sit. But yes, all the females can mate, and they don't allosuckle, so it's not the same as lion prides, but they will all they're not aggressive towards each other's young. They're actually very tender. It's one thing that surprised me, how tender females are to each other's young. And at the end of the day, a social structure like hyenas, they need each other. They're not enemies, they're a clan. They're in it together. Yes, some are high ranked, some are low ranked, but they're in it together. They need each other in order to survive. And they will all stick together if any threat approached, or there was a sort of battle with a neighbouring clan. As long as everybody sticks to their position and no one tries to be more dominant than they are, or no one is more submissive than they are, then really, the clan should just operate in harmony. Unless you're Ribbon, of course, and you decide to challenge the status quo and conduct a matriarchal takeover, well, that's a different story. How sweet are you, little Junebug? Yes? You're not scared of the car anymore, are you? You're not scared of anything. You're starting to look more and more like a hyena. So out of the 6 cubs that we know of, Ribbon's 2 are boys, Ngwazi and Shimbulu. Heart's got 1 girl, 1 boy. Corky's got a girl and June's got a girl. So there's 3 girls. Three girls and 3 boys, and who knows what Ntima's got down there. Jane, they normally have twin litters. It's normally 2. They have a very unique reproductive system in that the birthing canal is very, very narrow. It's also twice as long as in other mammals. It's very unique, and it takes a 90-degree bend. So from the uterus down the birthing canal, the cubs, obviously very small, have got to sort of survive a 90-degree bend, and there's a really sort of high mortality rate for both first-time mothers and cubs. So that's another reason, and Ntima's success is just so wonderful. And a lot of people dislike hyenas, but they're such wonderful animals, and they have their own challenges. Yes, they're not listed as endangered or vulnerable or threatened at the minute, but they have their own challenges as a species in order to survive. And the mortality rate is really, really high. So they normally have a twin litter. But in the case of June's single daughter and Corky's single daughter, they may have given birth to 2, and 1 just didn't make it. Or it could have been a single litter. I think she knows we're here. That's why Junebug here has just been far too cute. So I can't handle it. I've got cute aggression, everybody. I hope you all also get that, or you're going to continue to think I'm crazy. Many of you can't believe how big Junebug has got. Anna, look at her. Look at you. You see the spots on the back? Spots are appearing. She's got that long hyena neck now. The hair's getting lighter. She's running rings around this den. Oh, right on cue. That's the rain starting. We're not going anywhere though. Not a chance. As long as there's an adult here, we are going to sit here and try and see if we can get any views of Ntima's little one. It'd be so lovely to see Ribbon come along. I don't know how Ribbon is. She was injured the last time I saw her. It'd be so lovely to see Ribbon meet her grandchild. Yes, Ribbon's a granny. A young granny. A cool granny. No, they don't give birth at the den site. They generally do separate. And it's not because another hyena would intentionally harm, but they need the privacy. I don't think the birthing process is very easy. I don't think it's easy whatsoever. So they isolate, they find a safe space, they give birth alone, and then they will actually, generally speaking, stash their offspring in a private den called a natal den. They don't bring the tiny baby cub to the communal den straight away, and it's for the same reason. We've got 6 boisterous cubs here, all ranging in different age groups, and they could accidentally hurt the cub by just getting a little bit too excited and trying to play a little bit too hard. So normally, in the first 4 weeks of a hyena cub's life, they stay in a natal den alone. So I don't know with Ntima. I've only seen what you guys have seen. So I don't actually know the size of the cub or what it really looks like. But I wonder if Ntima has had a natal den and brought them here. Yeah, I think that's most likely. I think she would have had a natal den. It's very unlikely she would deposit a day-old cub in this den. It's too risky. But maybe she brought them here earlier than other hyenas would because she is the matriarch's daughter. It's her first time. She's a first-time mom as well. Oh, and Djuma, I've been asking you for months. She never answered, but I've got my answer. I know many of you will be absolutely over the moon right now. Rippy, you're saying hyenas are so entertaining and cute. I know. I still can't believe there's so much dislike for them. I really can't. Yes, they scavenge. Yes, they steal. So do all the predators. Or nearly all the predators. Listening to that storm last night reminded me how removed we are from the animal kingdom. We're inside our room, under our duvet, warm. We didn't have any electricity, but we're watching the storm. I'm thinking of all the animals out here that just survive. They just survive. Most of them would just have to sit in that heavy, heavy rain, listening to that storm. And we're so removed from what it's like to be an animal. And for people to dislike any species, it baffles me. It really does. Hyenas are incredible. How can you not love that little face? And to watch this clan grow and thrive. I remember when I first started, and Seb, you were here. Different matriarch, different times. And just to have spent... Can we zoom into that pseudopenis, Seb? I just want to double check. I've not seen this in a while. Yes, I think that looks female. Sorry about that. Oh, she's covering now. But you have to check. One must check. It's been a while since I've not actually seen Junebug this mobile. She's grown up a lot in a space of 2 weeks. Sorry, the hyenas are under the car, chewing on something. This is the highlight of my week. She's grooming, she's cleaning the cup now. So day by day, hopefully, we'll get better views. I wonder if all the other adults have met this cub. And Djuma's been spending a lot of time at this den, even before I went on leave. But that doesn't mean the cubs are inside. This is still the communal den. Everybody's welcome. I'm just waiting on a little head popping up. Or 2. Wouldn't it be great if there was 2? And Djuma's still got very perfect ears. That's how you can recognize her, or one way to recognize her. All the other females in the clan have a damaged ear. Ribbon has a butterfly ear. June's is flopped over. Corks has got the triangular tip missing. And Heart has a notch out of the other ear missing. And Djuma's the only adult female with perfect ears. Okay, well, I think you all know I'm going to say this, but I'm not going anywhere. But you guys are going to go across to Steve with an elephant. Oh, Steve has disappeared. Steve, where are you? I watched Steve do push-ups this afternoon, which was very interesting. But he will be back, I'm sure. You're still with us, and I'm sure you can hear all that rustling. I'm not sure if you can hear it, but it's the cubs running amok in the long grass. It's playtime for them. Most likely they've been sleeping all day. I don't know if any organism, from your tiny little insect, your butterfly, to your large predators, to your elephants, I don't think anyone would have slept last night. The noise was phenomenal. We heard the lightning hit something metal. I've never heard that before. I've been in a lot of thunderstorms, especially in the South Pacific when I stayed there for a while, but I've never experienced a storm like last night. It goes back to survival, I imagine. Now, this is just my personal guess. I imagine that they would feel fear. They would be scared. They're used to thunderstorms on some level, but that noise, to sensitive ears, I imagine that they would be scared. Even your leopards, your lions. Candace? That's a difficult one. There's not actually a percentage. I really don't know what the likelihood. I know for leopards and lions there's various different percentages. There's various different percentages all across the world. However, for hyenas I'm really not sure, but we did lose many cubs from last year. Plonk didn't make it. Tswana didn't make it. There was a lot of loss. But I'm actually not sure what the survival rate is. Hopefully, all the cubs in this clan are going to make it. But they stay at the den for a long time. Even in Gwazi and Shimbulu, they're not really moving with ribbon, not just yet. They will soon. They're coming up for a year. Can you believe it? Well, we found them on the 27th of March. But that's a good question. I really don't know the survival rate. Hyenas are often not the most popular species for scientific studies. I still feel there's a lot we need to learn about the spotties. I really, really hope the other adults come. We can see how Ribbon's doing. I don't know if Tristan or Steve managed to spot Ribbon. I don't know how she's doing. Come on in, Tima, just a little look. I think there's just one. What do you all think, one or two? What do you think, Seb?
I think one.
One, yeah, I think so too. I have actually got a diagram somewhere. I'm just going to find it for you of the sort of hyena birthing canal that I was referring to. Now it's drawn by myself, so don't get too excited. There we go, Seb. So this is the genitals. We don't need to necessarily look at this, but if you look here, this is what the hyenas have got to face. This is the womb. And in the birthing canal, as you can see, takes a 90-degree bend. Can you see that? I mean, that is just incredible. And it is twice as long as other mammals, but it's only an inch in diameter. I mean, the mortality rate is 60% of cubs suffocate. So that's 40% survival rate. And that's just due to the birthing process. That's not the overall survival rate that we were just talking about. So there you have it. That is the sort of anatomy, terribly drawn anatomy, that I did to show you all. There we go. It's just remarkable to see them all together, different sizes, different colorations, different litters. Heart's pair are still the most aggressive, I find. I still feel like the boy and the girl are the feisty ones. Bruce, you're asking, please explain how the hyena genitalia works. I'm going to get Jared just to elaborate on what you mean by that, how it works. And I'm also going to put my jacket on as we speak because it's chilly and it's raining, so bear with me. Okay, so Jared said, why do the females have a penis? They absolutely do not have a penis. It is not a penis in any way, shape, or form. It doesn't function as a penis, and there's no sperm production. So it's not a penis in any way. It is a pseudopenis. And the reason it's called a pseudopenis is just because it looks like one. So basically, when you sort of really take a closer look at hyenas, it's a hypertrophied clitoris, to be perfectly honest with you. I know that doesn't sound so pleasant, but that's exactly what it is. And they also have sort of fatty, bulbous pads at the back that resemble testicles, so maybe it's a pseudo-scrotum. And absolutely not testicles. And anyway, it's just fused labia. So it's fatty pads that resemble that. So there's no real understanding of why hyenas have evolved this way. There's lots of different theories, especially due to the fact that it's a matriarchal society. It's dominated by females. The males really don't have much of a say in a hyena clan, I'm afraid. They kind of just do as they're told. It's all about the female. And the anatomy really means that the females cannot be coerced into mating. So it's actually the female's choice. When she's ready to mate, when she's coming into estrus, she will signal to the male and the male will be ready. There's no sort of period of sperm production for the males. It's constant throughout their life, similar to humans. And therefore, whenever the female's ready, the male will mate. So she's in control, she's in charge. When she's coming into estrus, she will then let the male know through scent, various different signals, and then they will mate. And even when they mate, the genitalia is very, very difficult for the wind's spooking them a little bit. It's very difficult for them to mate. You can actually Google it. I know that sounds very bizarre to Google hyenas mating, but the male has to sort of squat on his back legs. It's very tricky. I don't quite know how they do it. And their genitals swell. So that actually forms a copulatory lock. And they're not able to sort of pull apart so easy, and therefore it leaves them very, very vulnerable, which is why you often do not see hyenas mating. I think Isaac or possibly Tim had hyenas mating in the Masai Mara not so long ago, which is magical, but it's not often seen because it leaves them very vulnerable. If a pride of lions were to come along, they would not be able to anatomically separate. They have to wait until the swelling goes down. So I hope that answers your question. But in terms of the genitalia, it's not a penis. It's absolutely not. It's just a bizarre-looking female genitalia. There you have it. I used a lot of words in that last speech that I wouldn't normally use. But it's also remarkable, although maybe people don't enjoy talking about genitalia, you've got to think of the evolutionary reason, sexual selection. Why has this happened? Why is there such a difference between male and female genitalia in hyenas? Why? And I think it all comes down to the success of the spotted hyenas is built on the females. So if the males were larger and stronger and they were able to dominate and possibly coerce the females, a matriarchal society would not work. I don't know how many times I've sat at the entrance waiting for a cup to pop out. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to sit here waiting, and you guys are going to head off to another live location.
How insane is that animal?
This is out of this world. Fantastic. Good, Mama.
Wow, what a way to start off. Just such an incredible privilege to be out here. It just keeps on delivering.
There you go, there you go. Heart is pumping right now.
3, 2, 1. You are live, you are live.
Look at this, everybody. We've got a live kill.
The cock's holding the tail. It's holding tight. Lucky wildebeest.
There's nowhere to go. This is a disaster in the making.
This is the first leucistic zebra I have ever seen in my life.
Oh, here comes a lion. Run, little guy. Go on.
Something that I have never seen before in my entire life that you are now watching live.
My heart is in my mouth, everybody.
Look at this. It's gonna make it. It's going, it's going.
This is just too magical. Hi, little guys. That's great, isn't it?
Has it just pretended to be dead? That is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Look at that. Scuba Steve has got a friend.
You've got a friend in me. It couldn't be a better morning. This is just too special.
Oh my goodness, we've got a turtle.
How epic is the fact that we're coming to you live on the Chobe River? It's the most incredible feeling to be here. This is live and we're in Rwanda. This is a very, very different adventure, charged with emotion.
Look at that little zebra about to be born. There's the head. Oh, you clever mare. Well done.
I did not think I would ever face my fears like this.
Welcome back to a very wet and rainy Djuma, everybody. Forgive our laughter there. I'm sure Jared will understand. Unfortunately, we had a little bit of a signal issue in the south, so we're now heading back up towards Buffelshoek and the western boundary. So we found tracks of a small herd of buffalo. The tracks that I saw coming in. Sorry, let me just turn this off. Okay, I don't need you to be loud. And they moved far, so I'll demonstrate for you where this group of buffalo has now gotten to. I don't think it's the same ones, and if it is, sorry about that, if it is, it's a different or a split-off herd, and I think maybe they've been hunted. So we found tracks over here of a small herd. Oh, this whole map is wet, and when it's wet it doesn't work. We had tracks over here, and they went straight through the middle, straight through here, back towards Treehouse Dam, and then we lost them in this sort of area here towards the south, but not a substantial herd of buffalo. And you see how far that is. Now, if you find a small group like that that's been moving, if it is part of the same herd, then there's very good chance that they've been hunted. Because as we've seen over the last few days, they're not moving very far. There's lots of youngsters. There's not that much force for them to go anywhere because there's food in abundance. There's availability of water everywhere. And there they've gone a few kilometers, sort of like this. And the tracks in the road are they're moving quickly. There's not the same indication of the slow-moving herd that's depositing dung everywhere. tracks and dung. So I'm going to go back up towards the north, towards where we last saw the buffalo yesterday. And maybe we'll find activity of where they have been hunted from the Talamati Pride. So I think that could be worth a little look. We are on our far eastern boundary right now, Cheetah Cut Line. The rain is falling down on our heads, but we shall survive. Gracie, you want to know if all animals have a hierarchy or leader? Depends on what species you're talking about. Elephants have got a leader. Please stop. I will stop. Okay, so we're losing signal. So Gracie, elephants have got a matriarch, so one female. Buffalo have got a sort of group of leaders that lead the herd. Hyenas have got the matriarch itself. Lions have probably got some key females that lead the movements of the pride. Leopard, solitary, cheetah might have a dominant male if there's a coalition. Impala, definitely not. The top dog is the one who mates. The top dog is the one who controls his own area, but by no means is he a leader. He'll just fight anyone who comes near him. Impala females, don't think there's any leadership there. Kudus, there's definitely one male who dominates a group. Zebras, there's a male who dominates a herd of females. It's his harem. Baboons, there's a group of male baboons. So it all depends on what species you're talking about. Mongoose, especially the small ones, to determine dominance. Two males will come together, like Dave and myself, and everyone watch, and we'll groom each other until one of us stops, and the one who stops loses. The one who keeps grooming is the winner, and then they get elected as the leader of the group. The one who can group the most efficiently. Isn't that amazing? The one who can groom and scratch. And if you've ever played with the mongoose, they are the most unbelievable creatures. They are so full of energy. I've had one trying to get into my shoe once. It wasn't very pleasant because it just would not let up. It was just unbelievable, little band of mongoose. Anyway, the rain is falling on our heads. Dave is starting to pull down the covers behind us, so I'm going to give him a hand, and while we do that, send you back up to Laura and see if she's got another view of that small little hyena cub.
Just turn my radio down there. Seems like Intima's very much going to sleep. Cuddled up into a little ball, and I have just realized I forgot the most important thing about today. Seb, turn that camera around. I've got to say happy birthday to someone very important, and I forgot. I feel terrible.
It's not my birthday.
You're special, but this other person, they're special. There's someone very special out there who turned 5 today. His name is Hosanna. Happy birthday, Hosanna.
Oh, happy birthday, Hosanna.
Yay! Now, for those of you who have absolutely no idea who Hosanna is, he's a leopard. He was born here. He is the child of Tingana and Karula, the original queen of all leopards, and I forgot to say happy birthday. So there you go, I did it. Happy birthday, Hosanna. We all miss him dearly. I think all of us, Seb included, spent, I don't even know how many hours with this leopard. He grew up here, and it's his birthday. He dispersed, which is really normal, and it's exactly what hyena males do. So male leopards disperse and male hyenas disperse, generally speaking. They may stay, but if they do, it's very, very unusual to stay in your natal range. Why? It's all about reproduction. If Hosanna stayed here, not only was it his father's territory, Tingana, at the time, he's limited in his mating opportunities. He's related to a lot of the females around here. So it was time for him to disperse, set up his own territory, set up his own shop, and find new ladies. Mix up that gene pool. Although inbreeding does occur, it's not a good thing. Exactly the same for male hyenas. Male hyenas like Ngwazi and Shambulu, it's not really going to benefit them so much to stay in their natal clan. Yes, they're high-ranked individuals. They're the matriarch's offspring. So they may get more access to food, they may get treated better because they're high-ranked. But at the end of the day, in terms of mating, most likely none of the females are going to want to mate with them. Unless it's a very, very low-ranked female and, well, she might not have much choice, shall we say. And it would far benefit them to disperse. So when it comes to males, especially of your predators, it benefits them to disperse, get a new area, set up their own shop, their own territory, and of course mate with a whole new gene pool of ladies. The actual percentage for hyenas is 97% versus 3. So they say that 97% of all males disperse and 3% stay within their natal grounds. And it's normally the higher rankers that stay, just like Shambulu or Ngwazi, because they are high ranked. They will be treated well. They are the matriarch's offspring. Maybe if they want a lady-free life, they might stay. But that's the percentage, 97% versus 3%. The rain's starting to come down here. We're getting rather wet. Polly, I couldn't answer that question. I'm really not sure how large their territory is, and I think that's one sort of thing that we are missing when it comes to spotted hyenas. There's neighbouring clans, absolutely, but I fully believe that we don't really understand the full spectrum or the full details of the Djuma clan. We see some males that come and go. We see some individuals that come and go. The females, yes, we understand very much. We know their lineage. We know their history that extends back so far. But for the males, I really don't think we understand. I don't think we fully understand the neighbouring clans either. I mean, we can now traverse Buffelshoek, and we see lots of hyenas up there. Which clan do they belong to? I don't know. I just wish there could be a more sort of wider or broader study done on the spotties, just to really understand how far they move. How far does ribbon travel for food? How far does Ntima travel for food? We know they have such powerful olfactory capabilities, but how far in this particular area, the northern sector of the Sabi Sands, how far do they travel? So I'm sorry, I don't actually know how large our territory is, but I imagine it's quite large. So while we try and position us to not get wet, we're going to send you guys across to Phinda.
Welcome back, everybody. I know that I said that we were going to go off and find those elephant balls that you could see behind us earlier, but we did try and the ground was far too wet, so we actually started getting stuck and had to, had to come and find something else, and we found rhino, which is very cool. And we've already seen or shown you some elephants, so happy to show you. Already seen or shown you some elephants, so happy to show you. Already seen or shown you some elephants, so happy to show you. Right there, probably see them possibly still in their same spot. Rhinos will sometimes spend the whole night in one place, and they do sleep in quite late. So often when we're out on game drive or when we leave early from the lodge, they're all still sleeping, and you can catch them still dozing or just before they start their day. I wasn't able to see whether that one that lay down was a male or female, but it looked about the same size as the mother that you can see most of at the moment, so it's possible that it was just another female that's maybe joined up with this mother and calf, or it could be a young male that's following them around. The number of situations that it could be. White rhino are quite a lot more social than black rhinos. Black rhinos you'll only see, well, more often than not, it'll just be the mother and her calf without any extra add-ons. Sometimes you do see maybe a satellite calf, which I think we've spoken about a couple of times, but just to explain to those who don't know, a satellite calf is a calf that is not or doesn't belong to the mother. So, for example, if this larger rhino was a satellite calf, it wouldn't belong to this rhino mother. The calf that we saw would belong to the mother, and then that extra rhino would just be kind of joining on for company, or if it feels, maybe it's feeling a little bit lonely, maybe it recently got weaned from its mother, and it would then join up with the mother and other calf for company and for protection. So that does happen with black rhinos as well, but you won't necessarily find a crash of black rhinos. A crash is a collective noun for a group of rhinos. Black rhinos, you'll see them either male and female, where they're mating, or a cow and calf, possibly a cow calf and a satellite calf, and that's about as big as the groups of black rhino get. With white rhino, you can sometimes see groups of up to 8 or 9. I've actually seen in this exact area, maybe 100 meters from where we are, biggest group I've ever seen together. I counted 21 rhinos altogether, which is pretty flipping ridiculous. We are very lucky on Phinda to have quite a lot of white rhinos, and it was during winter, so all the watering holes had dried up, and there was just one watering hole that was being used, or that had a little bit of water left in it, and that's where all the rhinos were. It wasn't exactly like one group all together, it was like a few groups, but like in one area I could count 21 rhinos, and all pretty close together. It was a very small little pan system that they were drinking from. But I mean, what a privilege to be able to see that many rhinos all together when they're actually so endangered. And in most places you really, really struggle to see rhinos. I'm just going to move forward a little bit so that we can maybe see, if our car allows it, see the one lying down. Okay, I'm going to move forward a little bit and see if we can see the rest of, the other rhino, but we'll send you over to Ngala while I'm trying to get my vehicle to start.
Welcome back to andBeyond and Ngala, everybody. So I am sitting with an incredible scene at the moment. I've got some lions here that are busy grooming each other, but in the background you're going to hear a lot of noise, and that is actually from the lions that have just killed a wildebeest. Listen to that fighting, it's unbelievable. They're actually having a fight at the back. So that's where the feeding is happening, behind that lion at the moment. And this looks like a whole lot of sub-adult lions, maybe 1 or 2 adults. And what I'm thinking is it might actually be the Birmingham breakaway pride. So part of the pride that actually broke away from the Birmingham pride a good few years ago. So they're definitely having a bit of a fight at the moment. You can see that the younger lions are the ones that are actually moving off. And that's because there's probably quite a dominant, maybe a bigger male or bigger female that might be at the carcass. That one's actually got a piece of meat. Managed to take, I think it's a piece of the leg almost. And so everyone's kind of just trying to take what they can right now and move with it to avoid the fighting. But literally everywhere I look right now, there's lions. Unbelievable. So it's perfect hunting conditions for them. So I'm really, really happy that they actually managed to get something today. Because it is nice and windy, it's cool. And so I don't think the wildebeest even knew they were coming. You can hear crunching of bones in the background. And some growling again. Unbelievable. That lion has still got so much blood on her face, the lioness. Bobby, they are truly spectacular sounds today. It is always very, very interesting to listen to lions feeding, and at the moment I think they're actually starting to follow that one that stole a piece. And it's actually mind-blowing. So in front of where I am at the moment, all I can see is their shoulders sticking out. That's how long this grass is. Oh, wow. So this is when the true ferocity of a lion really comes out, when you can hear how vicious they are over a carcass. And these lions are moving so much, I haven't even managed to do a full head count, because every time I think I'm getting there, they start moving again. So you can actually see just in front of me here, there's actually 3 there, not even 2. There's 3 there in this long grass. And they've gone to that one that's still busy eating and stole a piece. Unbelievable to see how they just disappear into that long grass. There you can just see some heads sticking out now. That's the one that stole the piece earlier. And they keep looking back towards where the carcass is to see if they can maybe steal some more. But I think there's so much action going on there at the moment that they're actually probably a little bit nervous. I can hear the crunching now. So there's actually a lioness that's got quite a bit of blood on her face that's actually starting to look back in the direction of the carcass at the moment. And that one actually looks like almost a sub-adult male. He's got a bit of a mohawk behind his ears. He's quite a bit bigger. And I think he's trying to be patient while the rest of them are having a bit of a fight over the food. But what I definitely want to do is I actually want to try and get closer to that carcass and see if we can get a bit of that. So I'm actually going to move, see if we can get there. So I'm going to go around because I don't want to go straight through this section. I'm going to go around and see if I can get a view from the other side. Because at the moment it seems to be a very, very, very interesting interaction going on. There's a lot of lions all over here. How exciting is this? The noise is so loud that it's actually tough to hear anything else when they are busy having a fight. I'm actually going to go around this way. Unbelievable. So we have got some guest vehicles in here at the moment as well. And we are just hoping that we get a decent view from the side. The grass is so long at the moment. We're actually not sure if we will get a decent view. I think we might though. So these ones are actually still busy feeding. There we go. So you actually can't even see the carcass. The grass is so long. But they're definitely still busy feeding. Listen to that noise. There's actually some more of the lions that are coming back, so we might actually get some more action from the right-hand side. I can see another one coming back in. And see her walking through. And actually quite a few of them are coming back now as well. So just behind my head over there. There you can see. Oh, we might have some more fighting. So those are just warning the others. Listen to that crunching and growling. This one is sniffing around. I don't know if it's actually managing to... It looks like it's eating, actually. That sound is mind-blowing. Those two at the back are really having quite a spat over that food. Anna-Marie, absolutely, it is incredible to hear that growling. And yes, I definitely think they were quite hungry. What I'm thinking is because they're not all feeding at the same time, they might have actually killed a young wildebeest instead of an adult. And so maybe that's why there is so much growling. Because you can imagine for them it might be quite difficult to feed everybody. There we go. Look at all the blood on their faces as well. So you can tell a lot about these lions from their body language now that they're feeding. Have a look how all of their ears are actually angled backwards. And that's because as soon as they go into a feeding position, they're immediately on guard, but they're also extra protective of the carcass, not necessarily of the others. And so whenever they're getting grumpy with each other, they flatten those ears backwards. Absolutely beautiful. So it seems as time is going on, more and more of them are actually coming back towards the area of the carcass. And there seems to be a lot of sub-adult males here, which is quite unusual. It's amazing to see that so many have actually gotten to this age. There you can see his mane starting. Those two at the back are the two that are making a noise, the original two on the carcass. You can see how flat those ears are. Another sub-adult at the back, another male. I love being able to listen to these sounds. I can actually hear some contact calling. That's why that lioness looked up. I can hear some contact calling coming from my right. So I think there might be another one. Yeah, there we go. That one's calling. And that contact calling is just talking to the other lions, calling them. But it actually just stopped mid-scent mark there as well. Amazing how long that grass is. Teeth. Already panting from eating. because that's raised the body temperature. He is beautiful. There's quite a lot of movement happening here, which is quite unusual at this time of the day, but again, we're very, very lucky because of the weather. Wow, that lioness is actually quite well built. Have a look at her shoulders and her neck, very thick. Still looking for more food. The noise was actually so loud from these lions fighting over this carcass that they were seen running off after the wildebeest and they disappeared into these thickets. And to find them again, we actually used the sound of them fighting to find them. That's how loud they were, and so loud that we couldn't even hear each other's vehicles. I think there's at least 8 lions here. I think he tried to run away with a piece. Jerome, I haven't managed to get a full head count yet. They are moving around so much, it's actually quite tough. But I think there are at least 8. And they all look like they're sub-adult to adult lions. But here feeding at the moment we have 6. And then there was still another 2, or 3 actually that moved off to the side, but 2 that came back. So I think there is still one that is off, that managed to steal that little tidbit. But it is a beautiful pride of lions. They're all in excellent condition. So you can see they're actually so close to the vehicle that we've actually got some parts of the vehicle in the shots, which is actually very special. You can see they're just right behind me. There's a lot of activity going along. That one at the back has not left that carcass. It is adamant that it is staying there. And that's the one that's making most of the noise as well. So the one right at the back that's busy chewing. Well, as I say that, it starts moving, but it's actually got a piece with it, I think. Also got a piece there, like a piece of leg. It's amazing to know that there's just lions everywhere right now. Quite a bit of contact calling starting again. I'm starting to wonder if maybe this is just part of a pride and maybe some more adults are somewhere else, and maybe that's why some of the younger sub-adults are contact calling. This one's choking on something. Look at that young male in the background, his mane's starting to grow. I think what they're actually starting to do is, as there's less and less food, they're starting to spread out a little bit, looking for tidbits, looking for pieces that they can still try and find that may have been spread earlier in the fighting. So I think I might actually try and move around a little bit again and see if we can get a slightly different angle. If we can see if there is anything actually left of this carcass. Let's see if we can change our angle a bit. I'm going to go around the side, see if we can change up the angle. Hopefully I'll be able to show you what's left of the carcass just now.
Imagine having your own secluded African bush home where you and your friends can enjoy the ultimate safari experience. If you sign up to be a WildEarth explorer, this could become a reality. Tembeta House is located in the heart of Djuma Private Game Reserve, the home of WildEarth. You could win a chance to stay at this intimate wilderness retreat, offering you the rare and highly sought-after privilege of your own home in the bush. The prize includes 3 nights for 6 people and includes daily game drives, a chance to see the WildEarth camp, and have dinner with one of our guides. Sign up to be a WildEarth explorer before the end of February 2021, and you could be heading to Djuma, the place that we call home. Available dates are limited, so terms and conditions apply.
Something very, very interesting. I didn't plan this, but this is a scene rarely seen. This is what we call a journey of giraffe. So beautiful.
Tune into WildEarth every single day. It's in your nature. When on safari, there's nothing better than an evening spent under the stars chatting around a fire, with the sounds of the wild all around you. If you sign up to be a WildEarth explorer, you can build your own memories by joining our guides for regular fireside chats. Subscription payments can be made by PayPal, credit card, and now bank transfer. WildEarth Explorers, it's in your nature. In a world full of upheaval, we all need a quiet and safe space to breathe. A place where anxiety and stress don't exist. A place where life carries on as normal. Escape to nature with WildEarth.
Welcome back. We did reposition. Our car allowed us to move, and the rhino's also repositioned. So now you can see all 3 of them, they're all up. And yeah, we can actually see now that one on the right-hand side is a bit smaller. So it is still a calf, it's not fully grown yet, and it is a male. So I think that what I said earlier about the satellite calf, I think that's what we're seeing here. It's quite an old calf. I suppose I won't call it a calf. In fact, I think it's more close to a sub-adult. But you see that it is a male. Well, I can tell that it's male, but you can see that it's smaller than the female, meaning that it is obviously not fully grown yet. Males will generally be much bigger than the females. So yeah, and the mother won't really be too bothered about chasing him away yet because he's probably not quite at the stage where he'll want to mate, and he's also not a threat to that other calf. It's possible it's even one of her older calves that's rejoined. But beautiful to see them all together like this. And also very cool to see the size comparison now that he's stood up. Oh, sweet. Look, the calf sitting down behind. I was doing that earlier as well. It's quite funny. He's obviously just getting a bit bored of this continuous feeding, or maybe he's tired. He probably wants to. He's like, okay, Mum, it's time. Oops. Oh, there you go. See, she, just as I was saying, she's tolerating that young male. She gave him a bit of a snort and just a warning to keep his distance. He was obviously getting a little bit too comfortable, too close. And then with the mother acting that way, the little calf leapt up as well. There's the calf sticking his head out from behind the mum. Sat down again. Yeah, he's definitely ready for bed. James, well, I'm very, very glad that we could show you some rhino, and some rhino that are being so cool as well. It's really funny how that youngster keeps sitting down. He's definitely done with the day and is definitely ready for bed. I think that most of us can relate to that feeling of just being ready for the day to end. And you can see also he's just got the one horn at the front of his face. He doesn't have that second horn behind the first horn, which the mother and that older or that sub-adult do have. So this calf is around 1 year old, maybe a little bit below. At about 1 year is when they start to grow that second horn. Oh, getting out of the way of the older animal. I'm interested that that mother is allowing him to get so close. I mean, she did give him one warning, but he's definitely pushing the boundaries. He's right up close with her. Okay, I think that we're going to leave these rhino now. They're just feeding quite peacefully. We might go off and start looking for some of the nocturnal animals as it starts to get a little bit darker. But for now, we'll send you over to Ngala and their lions, which I hear are being very, very cool.
So we are with this breakaway pride of lions. So far I've counted 12 of them here at andBeyond Ngala. And it seems like we're actually going from feeding into a bit of playtime. They've all started chasing each other around. And there's only 1 or 2 still feeding on the bits left of the carcasses. Look there. Oh, he almost looked like he was going to stalk. And we've got quite a bit of contact calling happening. A lot of activity. This looks like one of the youngest lionesses. And actually just behind that log where she is, which is quite literally just behind my vehicle, as you can see, there is a lion in there still chewing, and we just can't get a picture of him. But so far it seems to be 12 lions that I've managed to count. So you can see they haven't eaten a lot. Their bellies are not full. So I think it was definitely a younger wildebeest that they managed to get. Got a little bit of playing happening here. Everybody's stalking each other and playing. So it's almost like this little bit of food has given them some new energy at the moment. So now with the cool weather, they're all starting to move around a little bit. And And these two are the last two that still kind of seem to be feeding, where we can actually see them. But occasionally I'm still hearing the crunching of the bones behind me. Okay, we're going to have some playing again, I think, in the background. So you can see the one is actually feeding, the other one looks like it's looking around. PS lions will hunt, well, I guess they're pretty decent at hunting all the time, but the best weather conditions for them for hunting would be a day like today, where it's very windy, it's overcast, there's actually a drizzle at the moment. And that's because the wind covers the sound and the scent of their approach. Because it's cooler, they've got more energy, and so it just works better for them to be hunting at this time of the day in this kind of weather condition. However, they do normally do most of their hunting at night, which is the ultimate advantage, because then they will at least have the advantage of having better eyesight than their prey. So it seems like they're almost starting to move one after the other in the same direction, and that is directly towards our eastern boundary at the moment. So they might actually pop out on that boundary sometime soon, and literally just behind us here, just behind that log, occasionally you'll see some movement. And there is a lion that is still feeding here. But what I might have to do is actually reposition, see if we can find the other ones. I've just noticed one lion is still in the grass there, just peeking its nose out at us, watching us. Have a look there. So that's actually what a lion would look like when it's stalking. If you can imagine that you're that wildebeest or that zebra, the lion just poking out over the top of the grass is an amazing way for them to keep themselves hidden but still have enough visual aid through the grass, so enough eyesight. And it's actually just noticed the other one moving, that's why it's looked up. So there's one coming over from the last little bit of the carcass, looking very hot and tired with all that heavy panting. Can you hear that chewing? That is literally happening behind my right tire. We're actually starting to get quite a bit more rain now as well. I can feel it coming down in bigger drops. So I wouldn't be surprised if the lions actually move to an area from here where they've got a bit more shelter. I think this one is still hungry. It's still looking around where the carcass was. And the other lion is still sitting with just its nose sticking out of the grass at us. Actually looks like it's watching the other lion. Maybe they'll have a game as the other one walks past. Definitely amazing to see them looking so healthy at the moment. Has got some food in the belly, it is swaying a little bit. Can't even see that other lion anymore, it's flattened itself. That was cute. You could actually see the moment that lion realized the other one was there and got a fright as it jumped. I'm going to move forward for you though, since we have no view of any lions here. Let's see if we can move around to where they are playing at the moment. Maybe we might find some remnants of the carcass to show you here. But it's amazing, you can actually see the sections where they flattened the grass while they were feeding. That's actually a very cool view. So there you can actually see the flattened area still with blood, that discoloration on the floor, and a piece of horn. And that's where they must have killed it and started eating it. They've emptied the insides out there. And that's where majority of the fighting was happening. So I wouldn't be surprised if all of this commotion brings in some hyenas to this area, but what I'm going to do while I try and find them again while they're on their way to the eastern boundary, I'm going to send you Lauren with her hyena
Miss June is on the scene with her little June bug. Now, we are working on naming the hyena cubs, but I have to say I love June bug. It's very cute. June bug. I don't quite know who came up with it, but I love it. And Tima's still here at the entrance. She left. She came back again. And it's very sweet how she's being as a first-time mom and being very attentive. Now, I stole one of your screenshots from social media because as the action happened, I, of course, cannot freeze that in my brain or press pause. So I have stolen a screenshot. You're welcome to send them on through, any that you have of the little cub. And it looks quite young. It does look, I would say, and I'm massively guessing here, around that 4-week mark. But I need to... I don't quite know what happened there, but that was one of Heart's cubs and Corky's daughter. Did you just get annoyed there, June? Huh? Now you've got to go and find your baby. Now, I know I said this yesterday, but June is a very large female. She's huge, and that belly, my goodness, I do not know what June had for dinner tonight, but it was something very large. They are a little bit on edge. I don't know if they heard something. June, come back. I think this is the longest I've spent at the hyena den in a very long time. Your mommy's looking for you. Go on to mom. Kingfisher, we get asked that a lot. If the den was flooded, they absolutely wouldn't be using it. I don't think sort of the way the entrance and the decks are positioned that it would allow for flooding. Water will seep in, absolutely, but most likely it'll sort of drain right through the soil. I really don't think the dens will get flooded. If this particular den was flooded, they would definitely move. It's probably a bit wet and soggy inside, and can you imagine the smell? But I don't think they get flooded. I think it's a lot deeper than we realise, and I don't think it's a straight-through entrance, if that makes sense. It probably takes lots of turns and twists, and therefore it will stop the rain sort of flooding the entire den. June's coming back. It's interesting to see June and Ntima because June's a much bigger adult than Ntima. But Ntima ranks higher than June. But it's nice to see them interact and there's no aggression. Ntima's I find her quite a relaxed female. That might change though now that she's a mother. She's coming. She's incoming. There's no aggression there, there's no vocalizations, there's no tails up, just bottoms. I think June's getting to meet someone special here. all get very excited when there's a new arrival. And it's interesting how they all understand who the mother is of the cubs, how they all recognize the cubs. It's mostly through scent, of course. You see the size difference between the two? Actually, on the screen it doesn't look too different, but June's a lot bigger. Hyena boy! What a name. I love it. I hope you like hyenas just as much as I do. Hyena boy. Yes, far too many cubs. I'm a little bit worried about when they all get names and I've got to try and remember them all. There's just cubs everywhere, spots everywhere. Oh. Hearts. You see the aggression there? Did you just see one of Heart's pair bite June? Very aggressive pair. Out of all the litters that we know, out of all the cubs, Heart's pair, both the male and the female, they haven't got names yet, are aggressive. They raise their tails more than any other cub. And hyenas raising their tail, so it's erect and it stands upright. It's very much a sign of dominance, very much a sign of sort of aggressive dominance. And Tima's left. June never used to have his floppy ear. It happened during the takeover. But I quite like it. So we may leave shortly and let the Djuma clan enjoy their evening, but for now, back across to Ngala with their lions.
Welcome back to some relaxing lions here at andBeyond and Ngala. They seem to be chasing each other every now and then. But they all seem to be settling. They're literally on the road of our eastern boundary, which is unreal. They've been kind enough to stick around for us this afternoon. And there's a lot of spare energy at the moment. They definitely haven't eaten enough that they would be sleeping. So we've got quite a few of them here in the road. There are still at least 4 or 5 in the bushes to the left. You can see them stalking. And there's still one feeding in that thick bush. So as far as I can tell, this seems to be almost all sub-adults. So young adult lions. And I think that's why there's also so much energy. Oh, sweet. Grooming each other. So I would say these range from just over 2 years to just under 3 years. And it is now properly grooming time. This one is still looking for the other lions that are off the... Oh, we're going to have some more playing. So my count has actually gone up. I've counted 14 now. I think when they were all in and out of the bushes, it was so hard to keep track of them. And now that they're actually more still, it's been a bit easier to count. Oh, she's in beautiful condition. We've got some more lions coming over from the left now. And I think that one that's just laid down is going to start stalking him. Pete, I think they might actually kill again. They have got enough energy and they haven't eaten enough. We're about to get some play action. But they definitely could, lay down before this one could pounce on it. There we go. They've definitely got enough energy to hunt again, Pete, and they certainly look like they need it. Their bellies are still quite empty. So baby wildebeest won't feed them for very, very long, especially with so many mouths to feed. Some of them, it doesn't even look like they've eaten at all. They might have gotten a bite or two and nothing more. There's still contact calling coming from the bush. So I think there's still some that are maybe a little younger, maybe just on 2 years old, that are calling. How incredible would it be, though, to have quite a few of these lions calling at the same time? So that's where the contact calling is coming from at the moment. And they're still kind of at that young age now where the contact calling is, it almost still sounds like when they were very, very young. It's a very moany contact call. Soft and almost desperate sounding. It's one of my favorite sounds that a lion can make, is those moaning contact calls. But it almost seems like they're all starting to get up and look around now with where they want to go. Maybe wanting to follow this lioness that's hiding behind the bushes there, going towards the contact calling. They're definitely interested in that sound. Well, no, temporary interest, it's faded. That young male that's standing up is actually quite big. I think he'll be a big male if he survives to adulthood. It's incredible to see how easily they disappear. If we drove past here and there wasn't any noise, you wouldn't notice these lions once they're off the road. I mean, I know that there's at least 5 lions just behind this grass. And if you look at it like this, you really cannot see them. Unless you know where you're looking, you would very easily miss these lions. Shame, she's contact calling. Have a look how she moves her mouth as she's doing it. Oh, it's actually a young male. That's unusual. He's definitely heard something. So what might have happened, and what I'm thinking here is, with so many sub-adults, I wouldn't be surprised if the main part of the pride has actually started moving away from them, or these sub-adults have started moving away from the main part of the pride. And so that might be why they're still consistently contact calling. Maybe they're not used to being without all of the adults anymore. And we know that there are new cubs in this pride. There are 2 lionesses that have given birth. There are around 7 new little cubs in this pride. They're around 3 to 4 months old now. And so with the numbers growing, it would make sense that the pride starts to split up when there are so many mouths to feed. And it's amazing, actually, with the storm coming in now, the clouds are getting quite a lot darker. And it's unbelievable to see how much darker it has gotten in the last 2 minutes. Kate, yes, I have seen a live kill before. I've been very, very lucky. I've actually seen a number of them, which is a blessing, an absolute blessing for me to see. But I've seen lions making kills. I have seen leopards making kills. I've seen wild dogs. More than anything, I've seen wild dogs making kills. But I think, yeah, my favorite live kills to see are definitely the wild dogs. Although lions, it's always very interesting to watch the teamwork and the tactics that goes into it. And just how powerful they are. I've seen them hunting giraffes. I've seen them hunting buffaloes, wildebeest, zebra. It's been absolutely wonderful to experience. So this one is kind of almost hidden itself in the grass there. And there's another one hidden just to the right that you can almost only just see the snout. There's some tails. They must be playing. Coming back onto the road as well. Oh, we've got a lot of playing happening now. Everybody's wanting to tackle each other. Oh my goodness. It's actually a young lion and a young lioness playing. Svensson, I love playful lions as well. Their paws are massive and they tend to be quite clumsy as well. So they'll be playing and there's just paws and tails flying. It's always so entertaining to watch. It's a good way for them to practice all of their hunting skills. And it's been going in waves, if I can call it that, in stages. They'll lie down for a bit and almost digest and kind of look around a bit. And then one will start getting playful and then a few of the others start joining in and then there's a bit of rough and tumble. And then they all come back to the road and lie down and groom and relax again. So it's definitely almost going in stages today. But I love it. As soon as one gets up, you often find, there you go, the others get up and start playing as well. Or grooming as well. Wow. Thinking mid-play. So this is a pretty important way for lions to learn how to fight, defend themselves, but also how to hunt. Great tactics being learned here. Oh, she put her on the pole. There's just so much happening here at the moment. They all seem to be playing and stalking each other. There's like almost groups of them playing. Look at that one, it just kicked the other one in the face. That one's doing a bit of a phlegm and grimace. She's busy smelling the air. Maybe she's also a bit unhappy. She looks like an adult. She doesn't look like a sub-adult. She looks quite a bit bigger. She also doesn't have many spots on her legs anymore, and she's got some scarring on her, which makes me think she's a little bit older than the others. You can also see by the way she's built, she's got that very distinct built muscle in the shoulders, but also up the side of her rib cage. Something that takes quite a few years to develop in lions is all of that muscle definition. So I think I'm definitely going to spend a little bit more time here and just see what happens as they start becoming more active, and maybe they'll cross over the eastern boundary. But what a lovely evening to be sitting here with lions.
When on safari, there's nothing better than an evening spent under the stars chatting around a fire, with the sounds of the wild all around you. If you sign up to be a WildEarth explorer, you can build your own memories by joining our guides for regular fireside chats. Subscription payments can be made by PayPal, credit card, and now bank transfer. WildEarth Explorers, it's in your nature.
Hi, I'm Kyle, and I come to you live every day here from Tswalu Kalahari in South Africa. My favorite animal in the Kalahari has to be the aardvark. Its unique appearance, its ethology and as well as ecology within this vast ecosystem is amazing, and something that I have been really lucky to experience on foot here at Tswalu.
Catch up with the guides daily here on WildEarth. Have you been watching WildEarth and dreamt of being right there on safari with one of the guides? Well, now you can. WildEarth is offering you a chance to buy a ticket to dream. You or a friend can hop on board a live WildEarth show and join our guide on safari. The ticket is redeemable at any of our locations, anytime in the future. Only a limited number of tickets are available, so don't wait. Get your ticket now and start dreaming. Terms and conditions apply.
There is clearly something in the vicinity around you that's drawn their attention. Yes, that meerkat in the tree is just the coolest of cool meerkats. But watch how he battles when he comes down. That would be like me climbing a tree, just better.
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth daily.
My name is Lauren, and I'm currently working in Djuma Private Game Reserve here in South Africa. I love answering your questions during the live safaris. It's my favorite part. It feels like you're on the vehicle with me, and I'm able to teach you exactly what you want to know. If you want to ask a question on WildEarth, then you need to register on our website. Once registered, you must go to the live safari page and ask your question below the live feed. We left the den and we came to quarantine, and look what we found. We're already in infrared and it's only 6:45 here in Djuma. And that's quite early. But of course, there's no ambient light. Couldn't take any nice photos of the hyenas either. They're too noisy. It's very overcast, but luckily the sort of drizzle of rain has stopped. And it's so lovely to see elephants. But I must say, I only see 2. Do you see any more, Seb? No, I only see 2. Which is rather unusual, unless the rest of the herd are behind us or just around the corner. But of course, to see 2 elephants, a female and a youngster, is quite unusual. But I could smell them all the way down Philemon's Dip. The fresh dung. Elephants really are not able to hide their presence. Loving every single minute of marula season, I imagine. That'll supplement their diet quite nicely. But each species will have a different vitamin requirement. What we need as humans will not be the same as what other animals require. I mean, we take supplements galore, and I'm talking about myself here. I'm terrible. I cannot walk past a shop and not buy some fancy supplement. But it's not like that for animals. They get mostly everything their body requires in terms of nutrition from what they eat. And if they are lacking intrinsically, biologically, they will know that. And that's why you will find some giraffes eating soil, geophagia, or gnawing on bones, osteophagia. That's why butterflies, as I mentioned earlier, they will sometimes drink blood. That's not their diet, but there's obviously something in blood that their body requires, some mineral that their body needs. You don't really come across a vitamin-deficient elephant. And then when you think of the cats, their body synthesizes their own vitamin C. They don't ever need to eat fruit or marulas or anything for vitamin C, ascorbic acid, because their body can synthesize that. Not all organisms can do that. So every species is different. And of course it's summer. So for elephants, they'll be meeting all their requirements from the delicious grasses, all different types of grasses, and supplementing with marulas. Sounds ideal. Steve has actually got a whole box of marulas in his car and he keeps giving us some every single day. We're all high on fructose. There's nothing quite like an elephant on quarantine sighting. Many of you are saying this is peaceful. Yes. It's coming to the end of the evening, the end of the drive. We come across 2 elephants after such wonderful news today, an emotional drive, for me at least. I haven't seen my family in so long now, I guess. I see the Djuma clan as family. Why not? No, I'm joking, but it was emotional to see a newborn, new life, a new addition to the clan. This is very sweet. I think this is mother and offspring. Do you know what, Seb? Let's drive a little bit closer. I haven't seen a leopard since being back yet, but my focus, of course, has been on the hyenas and on Tima. But it wouldn't surprise me if we saw a leopard. Quarantine is a perfect place, especially when the weather's like this. Okay, Seb, tell me when. I'm not very good at judging with the rain roof on. What about now?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. It really does appear there's only 2 elephants. But of course, elephants can communicate in such a variety of ways that if they have separated from the herd, it's not a problem. It's not the end of the world. They can be communicating to the herd right now, and we would never know. It's completely out with our hearing range, and it's called seismic communication. Something we can only really try to get our head around. And I guess it's not non-verbal. There's so many different ways to communicate in the animal kingdom. There's visual, there's auditory, there's tactile, there's chemical. Humans only see a really small part of that. And I think signing, I signed BSL, not ASL, British Sign Language, my entire childhood. It's completely normal to me. So I think that's what got me so interested in the senses of other organisms. So we may try and keep up with this pair here, but for now we're going to send you across to the lions at Ngala.
Welcome back to andBeyond Ngala, where we have all of the lions now lying along the road, staring at some impalas that are across the clearing on the other side. And now I've finally managed to get a full head count, and we have 14 lions here. 2 on the right in the bush, 2 young males together. And then kind of going all the way up the road, the rest of the pride. And there's actually quite a few in that clump at the end. You could only see 2 at the moment, but there's actually a 3rd one lying behind. That's flat on the ground. And it is unbelievable to see so many relaxing together. So we've got one that looks like it's thinking of moving over towards the others now, one of those young males. Oh no, back to his brother. And he might flop down next to him. He's thinking very hard about this decision. Listen to all the frogs that have started calling in the background. There's a beautiful light drizzle with us at the moment. And you can see that we're starting to lose light bit by bit here with the storm coming in. But what a sight to see so many lions in one spot, all spread out down the road. And that's my road out, so I'm going to have to find a new way around. A lion roadblock, the best kind of roadblock there is. They all seem to have heard something. Oh, I can hear lions calling. Properly calling from behind me in the distance. That's amazing. They all looked up into that direction. So that could actually be the Ross males calling. So it was very, very far in the distance. And look how they've all started moving. I think it might have been the Ross males calling, and they're the dominant pride here. And look how all of the sub-adults have all of a sudden gotten up and started moving in the opposite direction. They will have heard the commotion of these lions, and that's probably why they're starting to advertise their territory as taken. Okay, we're going to go over to infrared because the light has dropped. Now I'm going to carry on down the road behind them slowly. But you can see the oldest lioness is this one right at the back. She's the biggest. And she's more relaxed than the sub-adults, whose immediate response was to start moving down the road. That was unreal. So I could hear, it sounded like two males roaring very far in the distance. But for any lion in another lion's territory, it's very important that you don't stick around if you can hear dominant males calling, because that's just not something you want to get involved in. That is how a sub-adult would get killed. When they're all together like that, it actually almost can't even count them anymore. They're all in one ball. Lions. So they're actually moving through a marsh at the moment, so I'll stop on the edge of the marsh so we can see them moving through. They're actually using the tire tracks from the vehicle coming in to move back out, because it's going to be the path of least resistance, if I can put it that way. You can see a lot of flies are out at the moment as well. You can actually see some of their eyes reflecting as they look back at us. Susie Ann, my favorite thing about following lions would probably be seeing the dynamics of the pride as they're moving. So you'll have the closer lions to each other, the ones that are more bonded, if I can put it that way, moving together. You'll have some playing as well. But in a situation like this, it's actually really interesting, because you can see they all stop and look back because they can hear a lion calling. They're making sure nothing's following. And when they start moving, it's almost like a procession of lions. They move and they know where they're going. And it's just incredible to follow and be able to see how they're moving, where they're going, what they're using as their signs of where they should be going next or where they should be avoiding. But I think also being able to follow this many lions is unreal. It's a massive pride. And to think that this is only part of it is just mind-blowing. So very far in the distance, I can hear it again. It's not loud enough that it's picking up for everyone to hear, but I can hear it from maybe 5-10 kilometers away, I would guess, somewhere on our southeastern boundary of andBeyond Ngala. But it's enough for them to just hear that, to start moving out of the territory. So you can see they've actually started crossing off the road. As they're crossing to the right, they're moving out of andBeyond Ngala, out of the Ross males' territories. So I think what I'll do is I'll wait for them to cross out, and then I'm going to carry on into the evening and see what else I can find you. But I'm going to send you over to Lauren in the meantime, who has a bird.
If you ever wondered what a woodland kingfisher looks like in black and white, here you have it. If you ever wondered what they do when it gets dark, here's your answer. It's just perched so delicately at the end of this dead branch here. And looking at it in black and white face on, it doesn't actually look like a kingfisher, because you don't see that long, sort of really sharp, pointy beak. And that sort of light you see reflecting off the tree is actually not artificial light, it's the infrared light. And it sort of bounces off the first object that it comes to. So that's why we don't have long distance visuals with infrared. It's a fantastic tool, it's the best tool. We have the best tool for viewing animals without any artificial light. But it hasn't got sort of distance, because it's going to hit, the wavelengths are going to hit the first object that it comes to. You look rather bizarre face on, I must say. You do. You look slightly grumpy too. I would be grumpy if I had to be outside in this weather. Apparently the weather's not going to be too great for the next week, but then it will pick up. And it's amazing how the animals just adapt out here as well. They have no choice. There's just water everywhere. There's a mini waterfall at Chitwa. And when I say mini, I mean extremely mini. But it's flowing. Chitwa Dam is bursting at the seams. The vegetation's the luscious it's been since I've been here. So luscious it's been for a very, very long time. And I wonder how that will impact the seasonal change. So once the season starts to shift towards winter, I wonder how that will impact the life. David, you're saying it still looks nice in infrared. I know. It's just quite unusual to get such fantastic views of birds in infrared. There's no artificial light being shown on this animal whatsoever. No spotlight. Just resting, staying off the ground, staying safe. Not doing a very good job staying dry though, but it's staying safe. Because the vegetation is so lush and the soils are so waterlogged and the dams are so full, the transition into winter is going to be a tricky one. The temperatures will of course drop, it will get colder. There'll be no rain, it'll be very dry, but I think it'll still stay very, very lush. The dams are definitely not going to empty. It's not going to be a harsh winter, that's for sure. And although the water and the rain and the effects of the cyclone have been quite difficult to drive in, for the actual environment is perfect. Nourishing the soils, the vegetation is allowing to thrive, heal the damage that's been done from the years of drought. So although the grass is long and it makes it very difficult for us to find animals, it's repair for the environment, and it's a good thing. I remember the first winter I came here and every dam was empty. Do you remember that, Seb?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There was no water anywhere. On Djuma, at least. I can't obviously speak for the other properties. The main water point was Galagopan. And at one point that was it, just Galagopan. And that's why Galagopan exists. That's why, of course, the humans creating a pan is for that reason in really harsh drought seasons. So I think our bird got a little bit annoyed, being on camera too long. So I'm going to turn back on my lights. And then we shall bumble around quarantine. Believe it or not, we lost the elephants. They just disappeared into the cover of darkness. They'll be here somewhere, which is why I'm going to drive really, really slowly. Okay, I didn't do a very good job at turning my lights on, did I? There we go. This is a time of night now that the rain has stopped-ish. It's getting cooler and darker. Animals will, of course, start moving, and that's really what we're hoping for. Eyeshine helps, but eyeshine in this vegetation. Good luck. lapwings are not happy. I correct myself, the lapwings are never happy. Be it a crowned Senegal blacksmith, never happy. Talking of, the culprits behind the noise are right in front of us. Dink, 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 dink. The blacksmith lapwings. There's 3 of them. One of the most vocal birds out here. You're kind of in my way, everyone. Yes, I'd like to drive past you all. But you're not going to move, are you? You see the eye shine? Even the birds have eye shine, and that's just from the infrared light. That's not from a spotlight. It's not just your predators that have that eye shine, that dipedum lucidum, that reflective layer. Many organisms have it. Even crocodiles. And that's, of course, what we're looking for when we spotlight. Oh, there's 4. You guys are having a party. FC, can I just check your stow there? It's rather quiet and I am worried we may... They're fighting over this side. Okay, FC is still there. Ah, what are you? They're fighting. You see that? Excuse the sign. The exit is that way, everyone, in case you were wondering. No, there's 6, 7. Oh my goodness, sorry. They're throwing me. I don't know how many lapwings we have here. Way more than I originally thought. If you're a blacksmith lapwing, that's the place to be. You're all saying it's like I've interrupted something, very possibly. I apologize, everyone, but please let me past. I don't know why seeing them run is entertaining, but it is. I think they're going to disappear though soon, which means we can bumble on. Okay, let's see. I'm not going to put my lights on. Horse lover, you're saying it's a lapwing reunion. Yes. Can you hear them? Right, come on everybody. Luckily I've got just enough light I can see with my own 2 eyes. Not very well, I'll let you know. Toot toot. Nope, they're all still there. We are not going anywhere. I don't want to chase them away just yet. Can you hear that? And you know, this is what I love about nighttime. We're on quarantine. And it's so noisy. In summer, it's not quiet. We go to sleep. Not just with the sounds of lions and hyenas and the usual suspects, the bubbling casinas, all the other species of frogs, the owls that we can hear at nighttime, sometimes we can hear unusual noises from the dam. We can hear elephants moving because of course they move at nighttime. So it's never quiet, just like when I was in the Amazon jungle. I was younger. I was in the Ecuadorian Amazon. I was so shocked how loud it was, how difficult it was to sleep, especially from the toads. The toads were larger than my head. I have quite a large head, apparently. I tried on a few hats, and I come in at a size large. I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, but the toads were larger than my head. And the Amazon rainforest, it's so loud at night. We had to wear earplugs to get to sleep. The whole forest just comes alive. Lisa, generally not. Lapwings are primarily diurnal birds. And that means that they're more active, of course, during the day. That's what diurnal refers to. So no, normally at night time they will settle down. But I think I'm definitely interrupting something. Not intentionally, of course. And you normally find them around water bodies. I don't know what they're doing here on quarantine. But normally the sort of kink, 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 kink that you can hear, it actually intensifies in frequency and volume, if you like, with alarm. So I'm not saying our car right now, but a predator, or if something's approaching the nest, it gets more frequent, kink, 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 and much louder. They normally do this when they're very, very agitated. Okay, I think we've got a gap. I think. There you go. That's the lapwings. Off they go into the night. I hope you can hear that. That's extremely loud. Now we can bumble and see that's the rain getting quite heavy here. Oh, we have another bird on the road, my goodness. And we have elephants. So I'm going to be very, very careful here on quarantine, and we're going to send you across to Steve, who's also driving in the rain.
Hello everybody, welcome back to us. We've got what looks like a bronze wing courser in the road there. Yes, it is. No, it's a thick knee.
Good, Fred.
Yes, let's go to Fred. Sorry about that. The rain is falling. We've been avoiding it for a long time. Trying to. Oh! Now, unlike the plovers who are diurnal, these thick knees are nocturnal. There we go, it's back again. Is it a thick knee? Yes, it is. It just caught something. Spotted thick knee. Look at that, it's a lizard. Or a gecko. Or it's a centipede. Oh my goodness. He's being very delicate with the centipede. Can you see the centipede he's picking up, throwing on the floor? And you see the tail is standing up. Centipedes are extremely venomous, everybody. Yay. I've seen these guys catching scorpions before on the show. We had one once on Chitwa. So this fellow is going to need to try and sort of mantle that centipede so it's not able to envenomate. And the thing is, the centipede, the tail and the head look quite similar. So this bird has definitely done that before. It's very big eyes. He's also having a few poos as he goes. Pick it up, have a bite, pick it up, have a bite. Eventually, he'll manage to damage it to the point where he'll be able to eat it. Looks like he's getting a little bit more aggressive with it now. See how it goes for each different side. The centipede, when it's threatened, wriggles like a snake. So it becomes quite difficult for a predator to know which is the head and which is the tail. And it has the potential to sting and envenomate quite badly. And it can actually kill a person. If you're allergic or you get an allergic reaction and you get stung by a centipede, you could actually die. So this bird is being very cautious. It knows it's got plenty of time. Out in the open like this, oh, he's definitely having a few little poos as he goes. Well, he's doing something with his bottom every time. Oh, incredible. Slowly but surely. There we go. It looks like it's nearly about time to Nearly about time to swallow. And it's almost biting off bits by bits. Centipede is losing the battle. Look, can you see the legs now? Come on, don't turn away. What is he doing? He can't be having that many toilet breaks in between. Maybe it's the thick knee way. A little bit of a bum shake every time. Oh, there we go. Oh, thought about it. Nearly time. Remember, birds don't have teeth, everybody, so it needs to ingest the entire organism. There we go. Oh no, not yet. Still wriggling. It wants it to stop wriggling first. So as you can see in this battle, everybody, the centipede has really got no chance. Oh, and in you go. Now that was and there we go, a little bit of a bow. Oh yes, thank you. Show us. Yes, indeed, Megan, smart and patient hunter. Off it goes to catch something else. A little bob and weave. Oh, phenomenal. So we find their tracks at night all the time. We often talk about thick knee or coarser tracks. They resemble that of a snow angel. They lack the back toe, of course, and the heel of the foot has got a very nice sort of head on it. If you've ever done snow angels in the snow, that's what their track looks like. Thick knees and coursers. And the rain is now coming down from an angle. This is not pleasant. You're right there, Davy.
Yeah.
Oh. And there it is. So when we look at night and we see thick knee or coarser tracks on top of tracks that we're following, the activity time for these animals is at night. If you find a plover or a dove or a francolin, then you know that it was in the morning, and then it can give you a good indication of the time frame. So if the leopard track is on top of a thick knee track, then you know that the leopard walked sometime sort of late at night or even early in the morning, and vice versa. If it's on top of the dove or the francolin, which are rising quite early but not really before the sun, then you can gauge freshness as well. It's a good way. Oh, he's going to run off the road. Okay, well, we're going to have to try and move because this rain is really not pleasant. We might need to cover up. I'm going to have to cover up. Table, we generally find them on their own. Sometimes there'll be a couple of them in the road. But excuse us, Table, we're going to have to cover the sides here because the rain is now coming in from an angle, which is never fun. It's making everything very, very wet. So I'm going to have to... Are you going to film me doing it, Darby? You don't want to do that. No, you do not want to do that. There goes the very dangerous bungee cord.
Cheers. It's all right.
You got it. Okay, well, we're going to try and get these covers down so we don't get too wet. We're going to send you over to Lauren and see how she's managing to keep herself dry.
It is getting rather wet and unpleasant. We just had a hyena walk by, and now I can't see anything. I think it was Sutu. My lights are working, but they're not really. Ah, there you go. There we go. Possibly not Sutu, sorry. I think there's actually two hyenas. Hello. Look at your glorious eye shine. There's elephants up ahead. They're not going to like smelling you, that's for sure. I don't know who it is from this angle. My monitor is very, very small. think all the Djuma clanners come to quarantine. It's a great place to start for picking up scents. The western section of it takes you south, if that makes any sense. It's next to Gowrie Dam. It's next to WildEarth camp. Oh yes. You can head straight west on Burutella access, follow any scents. Just a great place if you're a hyena and you're trying to pick up on scents. Now, there was a herd of elephants nearby, but I think we've lost them. And the weather's really turning on us. So, I'm waiting for your questions. Jared, give me some questions. Let's see if I can answer some tricky questions for you all before the end of the show if we're not able to find the elephants. Oh my goodness. We always get these questions. Goodness. Favorite elephant sighting. My goodness. I think I maybe have two. I actually have a lot, but I'll go with two. One time, Davy and I, we were on quarantine last summer, almost a year ago. There was two herds. Actually, I think this was where we saw the mating for my first time. We saw elephants mating live. And one herd was just traveling in front of us, so we had parked the car to give enough space. We weren't blocking the road, and they spotted another herd. They reacted and they turned and all came towards us. They surrounded the car. And there was no aggression. They were not scared. They knew the car was there and they came to us. I didn't have enough time to get out of the way. And they just completely surrounded the car. And it was, I don't think I've ever experienced anything quite like that before. And I think the other one would be at the hyena den. We've had some incredible sightings where elephants, it's quite a popular area, that block that the hyena den is in. It's a game path. There's always fresh leopard tracks. The lions use it, the hyenas of course use it, and it's a direct path if you like to Treehouse Dam. So the elephants pass by there quite a lot, and of course when they encounter the hyenas, it's not a happy scenario. I've had some. Oh, we've got bright lights of another car there. I wonder if that is Mr. Steve. And yes, I think if I had to choose, that would be my favourite sightings, but I've had many. It's so hard to pull out a favourite sighting. So many wonderful ones. I wish I should actually write them all down, but it's a bit late for that now. It's going to be very tricky to actually find anything in the rain, but I shall do my best. Oh, I've just found an iPhone cable. That is something you don't want in the environment, so I'm going to pick it up and remove it.
It's no secret that nature can heal. Some of our WildEarth viewers are finding solace in the outdoors close to their homes during lockdown.
This is how I keep myself busy during lockdown. Beautiful little jumping spot.
I love walking in the open spaces near my home. Provides a moment of peace in a crazy world.
This is my fire escape with some of the birds I get to see. That's what it's like in New York City during lockdown.
Being in nature helps me to cope with the challenges of life and helps me to be humble and grateful.
It's magical watching everything turn into a winter wonderland as the snow softly falls.
Been doing lots of walking, dog walking, outside at parks.
This is my Ridgeback Drake. Our little slice of paradise is a provincial park called Hopewell Ross.
Connecting with nature is critical to stay positive during these tough times. WildEarth encourages you all to find time to escape to nature.
This is a battle of two great carnivores of the African wilderness. Whew. Whoa! You don't want to be under those jaws. Definitely, this round goes to the lion. Look at that. Fantastic.
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth daily. Imagine having your own secluded African bush home where you and your friends can enjoy the ultimate safari experience. If you sign up to be a WildEarth explorer, this could become a reality. Tumbeta House is located in the heart of Djuma Private Game Reserve, the home of WildEarth. You could win a chance to stay at this intimate wilderness retreat, offering you the rare and highly sought-after privilege of your own home in the bush. The prize includes 3 nights for 6 people and includes daily game drives, a chance to see the WildEarth camp, and have dinner with one of our guides. Sign up to be a WildEarth explorer before the end of February 2021, and you could be heading to Djuma, the place that we call home. Available dates are limited, so terms and conditions apply.
Well, everybody, we got our rain covers down, and it works very well for Dave in the back there, but not very well for me in the front, unfortunately. So we are getting rather wet, but that is part and parcel of what it is to be out here in these times of year. If you are ever a guest that comes to safari in January time, you can expect it to be very green and luscious and vibrant and full of baby animals and flowers. You can also expect to get rather wet. So if you are averse to getting wet, don't come this time of year. Come in the winter months when it is dry. You won't see many baby animals, that's for sure, or wildflowers. But that is what's nice about this part of the world, is the potential to see the variation in how the bush changes from season to season. And we have discussed it many times before, but that's what keeps it so interesting. It's a great time of year for identifying species, grasses. It's not a very good time of year for tracking because it's quite difficult, but it's a variety. So at least you can come at different times, you can get different experiences. Tristan and I were discussing it the other day that I think spring, sort of late spring, early spring, late spring is our favorite time, when it's still dry enough, maybe a bit of water coming, and it's still easy enough to track, but the animals are still easy to find because the water is less abundant. But I'm looking forward, Darby, to a nice warm meal and a warm shower. How about you, sir? Sounds good. Sounds good. Sounds really good. Hopefully no snakes will fall from our roof this evening. One fell down over here when we were putting the flaps on earlier today, which was quite exciting. Fortunately, we didn't get it live. Those things never happen live. But we do thank all of you for joining us this afternoon. I hope you've had a wonderful time out with us. It has been it's been dramatic with lions making kills up in andBeyond and Ngala, and it's been raining this side. I know Lauren's been thoroughly excited to find hyenas again with what she believes to be a new little cub. And Dave and I have got thoroughly wet, but enjoyed it nonetheless. So we do thank you for coming, joining us on the show. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place, 6 o'clock South African time. Until then, have a good night and goodbye.